Welcome to Fan for Racing Radio for the second time, and welcome to Reed Scarce and to Jay Hughesman, and welcome to our chat room, folks. All Sports All Day is back, and I'm glad to hear it. He gives
we missed you
a 7.5 out of 10. The Reilly 7 out of 10, ARCA 8 out of 10, and ARCA West 9 out of 10. He enjoyed the racing.
All right.
And he says, sorry, I've been away after Wilkesboro. I was driving home that night, and last week I had to wake up super early, so I went to bed before you all started. ARCA East last week was so great. Yes, it was. Okay, so we're glad to have him back. We have a very interactive show planned for everybody here tonight. In fact, we had 4 races over 2 tracks with the ARCA East out at Iowa, O'Reilly Series out at Iowa. Then we headed out to Portland International Raceway for the ARCA West Series and back to Iowa for the NASCAR Cup Series. There are chase and championship implications across all 4 series. And we're going to have several debates here tonight, including an audience outreach. So we're reaching out to the audience to make this more interactive. If ARCA West didn't have the caution part, it would have been a 10 out of 10. Yeah, I hear y'all, Sports All Day. That was an amazing race. But the first question I'm going to ask everybody tonight is to post in the comments what state you are from. So I'm going to post mine now. Okay, and we'll see what state everybody's tuning in from. So post the state that you're listening from. Ooh, Texas, yeehaw. I'm from Illinois. Reed is from Texas.
Yeehaw.
All Sports All Day is from New Hampshire. And
you got to add the yeehaw. Is that part of the name Texas?
It's part of the official name.
Texas and yeehaw go together.
Okay.
Jay is from Mississippi, Minnesota. I never heard of that state.
Yeah, I've been in Mississippi several times, and that's where I've kind of stayed. But yeah, being military, I'm like, I don't even know where I'm from anymore.
Sharon, I called it. Jay is from Mississippi. He says, I had a feeling because of how well he pronounced Pascagoula.
All right. Sharon knows this story. That is only because of the Ray Stevens song, the Mississippi Squirrel Revival, because it references that. But I did spend some time down there in Biloxi and in that area. So, yeah, that actually came from a Ray Stevens song that I knew that.
Yes. He asked me one time where you were from, and so he thought it might have been there. So I have family down in Texas as well, so I should have put
yeehaw.
Illinois, Texas.
Yes, Texas, yeehaw.
Absolutely. I love Texas. Also, where Cole Denton is from. That's right.
That's what brought it up. That's exactly what brought it up when we were reading the ARCA entry list.
That's exactly what brought it up. So very cool there. And anybody else that comes in, make sure that you put in your state and where you're from. Okay, now this next question that I'm going to put into the chat room, I'm going to ask the fellas here not to answer until we hear from the folks in the chat room. But here's the question. I'm going to send it.
Send
it. Who was the biggest winner of the weekend? Ty Gibbs, Carson Kvapil, Tristan McKee, Mason Massey, or somebody else? Who is your biggest winner of the weekend? Don't answer yet, guys. I want to hear from our chat.
I like that better than the rapid fire. I got time to think about that one.
So who is the biggest winner all sports all day of the weekend? For when Janie comes in Lake Norman, North Carolina. He's
There
already
we
got
go.
Jamie covered. Yeah. Okay. So I have some friends over in New Hampshire. I know somebody who lives in Manchester, New Hampshire. So got to be Massey, he says. Okay, so who is your biggest winner of the weekend? The choices were Ty Gibbs, Carson Kvapil, Tristan McKee, or Mason Massey, or somebody else. Jay?
Well, I got two, and it depends on how you define the biggest win. I would have to agree with all sports all day. Massey would be one of them, just because of how he started the year, kind of fell back and to come back. And that's the same reason, though, I go with Carson Kvapil. Back to back, I think of it big as far as momentum. He's establishing himself as a championship contender. Ty Gibbs has kind of slowly been creeping in there, just not doing it in a highlighted way. So it's good for him, but I think it has to be Massey and then maybe Kvapil.
Reed, who is your guy?
No intentions of taking away the importance of the win for Mason Massey, but I'm going with Ty Gibbs. I think even outside of the win, he moved ahead of both Reddick and Blaney and is now second in the championship standings, chasing Hamlin, which is huge for him because especially these summer months, that team has been about capitalizing maximizing stage points. And, and this is finally a week where they decided to make an aggressive call to go for the win, which is something kind of outside of what they would normally do, besides that one race at Bristol where they made it work, and they made it work again. And I think it was more impressive than Ty Gibbs' win at Bristol. So give me Ty Gibbs.
I think Ty Gibbs is a good answer. I like Carson Kvapil too, because 2 wins in a row is a huge statement from him. He's saying, I'm here and I'm here to go after a championship, and making him a title contender, I think. We're going to talk about the biggest losers all sports all day. He's already got his biggest loser listed here. He says, Jones boy. Yeah, that's what Taz calls him. Can't go wrong with all of those answers. And Reed says, arguably Tyler Reddick as well. Yes. And we are going to talk about both of them here tonight. So let's kind of get into it, because I've got debate questions for you and Reed, Jay. So,
lovely. Bring it on, Reed. Bring it on. Come on.
Okay. So I'm looking at the wrong list here. I need to
you notice she left herself out of that. She's going to let us two debate. Yeah. She's just going to set us up.
I think we should just take each other's side as like a mutiny.
Right? Yeah.
Totally agree with Jay here.
Okay. Well, we got to take a look at the Junior and Company 150 at Iowa Speedway. We'll look at the race results. I can give you the top 5 right here. Tristan McKee was the winner. He won over Carson Brown, who finished second. Then it was Jake Bowman finishing third, Max Reeves in 4th place, and Isaac Kitzmiller in 5th. It was a combination race, paying points toward both the ARCA championships. So Tristan McKee gets points in both the ARCA East as well as the ARCA Menard Series for his win here. We want to also take a look, though. I'll pull up the results here, Jay, or Reed, and I want you to go over the results here for the ARCA Menard Series very quickly. Share screen. If I can get it all together here. Okay. Is it up there?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you want to cover the points?
Yep. Coming home with the victory is Tristan McKee and the number 77, kind of in that Ride the Dente paint scheme with Chili's. Right behind him, was the 28 car, Carson Brown. Very good weekend for him overall. In the number 20, Jake Bowman, the championship points leader, finished third, with Max Reese for Joe Gibbs in the 18 car finishing fourth. Isaac Kitzmiller had a blue-collar day, comes home fifth. Pretty good day for him. And Gavin Bushell comes home sixth in the 25. Thompson Nunziata right behind Jake Bowman in points, finishes seventh. He also came back from some adversity. Andy J finishes eighth. He was running in the top five for most of this race, but kind of faded there at the end. Ryan Vargas finishes ninth, and Jade Advidson finishes 10th.
Yes, she was 2 laps down, so there were only 9 cars on the lead lap. The margin of victory there I thought was amazing, 0.95 margin of victory. The next closest driver, Jake Bowman in third, was at 4.063. So it was an amazing finish. Everybody had... well, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm still thinking of the Portland race, but it was still an amazing finish for Tristan McKee. You want to go over the standings and what happened in the standings, Jack? Jay?
All right. Which one do you want me to do first, the main ARCA or the ARCA East?
I've got the ARCA East up.
The East, okay. So on the East, this really did kind of shake things up as Tristan McKee retook the points lead from Max Reeves by a point. You see that single -1, but it also brought Isaac Kitzmiller back into the conversation. I believe they only have 1 race left, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right, season. 1 race left. Yep.
So 17 points, mathematically, he is in the conversation. He would have to have that perfect day, and the other 2 both have issues, but he is at least in the possibility. Overall, it's going to be a straight-up shootout. 1 point means a position. Fastest qualifier. I mean, we talk about it in all the series, but 1 point matters. It is 1 point that could determine this championship now. So I'm loving that. Rookie Craig Pellegrini Jr., unfortunately, a little bit of a rough day there. 4th at -56, Quinn Davis -77. Then just to read the rest, Jackson McLaren, Austin Vaughn, Carson Brown. And it surprised me a little bit. He didn't get the victory, but it was good to see McKee hold him off. Nate Muller and Michael Maples rounding out your top 10. Carson Brown, the only one with not all 7 starts in the A spot based on 4 top 5s and 5 top 10s.
And did anybody have Quinn Davis on your card for being a top 5, the highest finishing female so far with this 1 race left?
Nope, I did not.
Isabella Robusto really took a nosedive. I know she's racing primarily in the other series. She's only raced 3 of these races. She's down in 21st. Rita Goulet in 17th, and then it's Quinn Davis up here in the 5th spot. So kudos to her for being in the top 5 here in the ARCA East Series. Next, I'm going to go over to the ARCA Menard Series tab.
And while you're doing that, I'll talk about Quinn Davis. That is one of those that hasn't gotten highlighted like some of the other females, but there we see the back and forth, good week, bad week. Quinn Davis, very consistent, and that is why she is in 5th in points. It is 77 back, but 1 top 5, 1 top 10. But when you look at the average start, 11.7, 13.7 on the average finish, just staying consistent week in, week out, not the up, down, up, down.
All right. Now the ARCA Menard Series.
All right, this one, to me, the top 2 is still as exciting. Got a little bit of a gap to 3rd, but could have been a lot worse. I thought it was going to space out a little bit more. Jake Bowman actually increased his point lead, if you can believe that. It is now 7 points over Thomas Annunziato. I believe it was 3 points going into the race. So again, a little over doubled it, but by no means secure. Those 2 have just been head-to-head, week in and week out. Waiting for Annunziato to actually take over the point lead. Bowman said, no, not yet. Not going to happen. Third, there you got Isabella Robusto, and we've talked about rough outing this week, a couple others. Third, and is already 111 points out. They have 6 races remaining. Again, that's going to be a tough hill to climb, but is third for a reason, because her good days are good, and she's been more consistent than in the past. Then you got Jason Kitzmiller, minus 113. Takuma Koga, minus 147, is your 5th place. Here again, Michael Maples just keeps showing up in 6th. Alex Clubb, 7th. Bobby Earnhardt missed a race in 8th. Andy Jakowiak missed 4 races, actually, but has a win. He's in 9th. And then Brad Smith, Mr. Ever Present, in the 10th spot. And that goes all the way back to 259. So, again, that one a little bit more gapped, but they do have 6 races left. So, still quite a bit of racing. Maybe Isabella can get herself back in that conversation. But you got 2 tough competitors up top that, like I said, just been going wheel to wheel, week in and week out.
And she is the highest finishing female in that series. So kudos to her for that. All right. Now, let's talk about Tristan McKee because he is the second career ARCA Menard Series victory for him. He's continuing his momentum in the series, keeping him at the top of the list. His development as a championship contender, his ability to finish races under pressure. Is McKee becoming the driver to beat? And that is our poll question for the audience right now. So with his win this weekend, did he put his name into this as the driver to beat going into the last race of the season, which, by the way, it is going to be in September at Bristol on the 17th. That's a Thursday night, by the way. So, and Jamie Schweitzer says yes. Mm-hmm. Mopar says, hope so. I'm rooting for Isabella to surprise the guys. Let's see. I missed out on a lot of things here. Yeah, Jamie says I'm from Lake Norman, North Carolina. This was at Hickory, and I'm sad that I didn't attend this race just 20 miles from my house. Yeah, that was a good race. Let's see. I watched it on TV. It was a solid race, except going till 2 a.m. Well, and then All Sports All Day says she really needs to start getting good runs. If she doesn't, I think there's a good chance she's out of there next year. I hope that's not the case. I hope they give her more of a chance. And he says, no, because it's always him or Max. They're equal. It's all about the car. Like Reeves' car wasn't great, but when their cars are equal, like at Flat Rock, they are equal, I would say. So, okay, what do you guys think? Is he the driver to beat?
Go ahead, Reed.
Yeah, I do think so. We saw a lot of it in the Iowa race with Carson Brown right behind him. A lot of these races, or a lot of the leaders sometimes, make a mistake when they're being chased by a hard charging driver behind them, but he was flawless throughout most of the day. And, we see a lot of mistakes out of Max Reeves, who's right behind him and standing. So I think it's Tristan McKee is the driver to beat for sure right now.
Jay, your thoughts?
Yeah, am I up there? Okay.
Yeah, you're up there.
I would say he is one of. I don't know that you could put it on one necessarily. In one aspect, I look at Max Reeves because of the team, Joe Gibbs Racing team. But as Reed said, not as many mistakes from Tristan McKee, more calm, cool, and collected week in and week out. So then I would say it's him. But you also got Carson Brown, who I think, was my pick to actually beat them both. I was glad to see the East driver actually take it when it came to the combination event. So honestly, I would say he has to be one of the drivers to beat. I don't know that
so
you can say
your answer is too early.
Well, for the championship, yeah, I think it is, because again, Reeves has a tendency to go all out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Whereas McKee is more solid, take what's there with the car as it's given. So it would depend on how the race plays out. If Reeves has to push and catch up and he overdrives it, it may cost him. So, yeah, I mean, I hate to cop out on that, but the momentum falls McKee's way, coming off the win. So it's a tough call.
Okay, here's where we have our Jay, Reed, and Sharon debate. Let's talk about McKee's momentum versus Reeves' experience. Reeves does has more time in the ARCA Menard series. Reed, why don't you start us out on this question?
Momentum is always, a lot of drivers don't believe in momentum, but I especially do. And McKee's got more momentum right now. And just looking back to this weekend's race at Iowa, Reeves was nowhere near as fast as Tristan McKee was. And, I know Reeves started from the back and, he made his way forward, but he was never really a serious, seriously in contention for the win. So because I'm going with momentum, I think Tristan McKee has it right now. And I think that's the thing that I would, prefer to go with when talking about, the broader championship implications.
Okay, Jay?
Well, I'm gonna have to go. I don't know if we were supposed to start with the agreeing with each other yet, Reed. But in this case, I'm gonna agree. But it's with Reed, or not Reed. All Sports All Day. Sorry. I think that the experience when it comes to Bristol is going to be the factor, and that leans towards Reeves. Already kind of been under more of the pressure gun than we've seen Tristan McKee, and I know that leads into the next question, so I'll kind of hold off on that. But in that aspect, and I am not taking away the momentum, that certainly does fall in McKee's lap from that aspect. As does, you mentioned, the Reeves is more prone to, I say, kind of Kyle Larson it, overdriving the car and costing him himself. So, yeah, I can't disagree with that, but I think the experience factor brings it back to even. It's a dead heat draw, in my opinion.
Kyle Larson has become a verb now.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, I have to give the experience to Reeves too, especially at Bristol. Bristol is that kind of a track. I'm not going to be surprised, though, if Tristan doesn't come up with it, because he is a little bit more calm, cool, and collected. He handles the pressure, I think, better than Reeves does. So to me, they're kind of, it could go either way. I'll put it that way. I think it could kind of go either way because it just depends on who handles the pressure better. From the experience side of it, it should be Reeves, but we'll see how that works out when we get to Bristol. That's not until September. So they've got a lot of time to kind of relax themselves and get ready for this big season finale for the ARCA East that's coming up in September. So what do you guys think about that? Is McKee, here's the next question. Is McKee ready for the next level, Jay?
Yeah, this is where I said I didn't want to get into that question yet, but he certainly is. I mean, he's already got the 4 wins. And again, we see that consistency. Take what the car will give you when, and that's not to say he doesn't push it a little. They always do that, but it's over push it or overdrive it. And I think that definitely favors McKee when it comes to that. So, and I was just replying to All Sports All Day here. when it comes to Bristol, I would not rule McKee out of the top 5, but I do think overall the advantage at this point kind of leans towards Reeves as far as the experience.
Reed, your
But
thoughts?
yeah, he's definitely ready for the next level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there, Jay. I think it's very clear that McKee is ready for the next level, and I'm reading All Sports' comics or a comment over, yes, Reeves gets aggressive, but let's not act like McKee didn't lift and drive straight in the back of a lapped car IRP. Yes, that is very true. But, you know, when I look at it, you're right, Jay. You talked about it. McKee is very consistent and steady, and that's one of the qualities of a driver that's usually, you know, above and ready to advance in, you know, whatever lower series they're in. He's consistent. He's very steady, and he's able to manage races, and he's adaptable. And those are, you know, qualities that I think he's excelled at this year specifically. And I think it's, you know, an indication. It's indicative that he's ready to move up.
Oh, okay. Now we're going to move on to Carson Brown. He had that runner-up finish. He continually has been improving. He's becoming a regular front runner in the series. He just had that O'Reilly Series debut. I think he finished around 15th. There's the importance of running both ARCA and O'Reilly during the weekend. So he had double duty this past weekend. So here's your question, guys. Is Brown a future NASCAR prospect? Did you watch his O'Reilly race?
Oh yeah, we gotta wait for them to respond first.
No, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I was pretty impressed with Carson Brown in his first O'Reilly Series start. I wrote an article about that. I don't know if you guys saw that, but yeah, Carson Brown, he was running, he improved throughout the day. He was running top 20 most throughout. He started in like around 25th, and you know, for a first start in the O'Reilly Series, especially with Jordan Anderson Racing, which is kind of a mid-pack team, a week-to-week basis, you know, they can contend for top 15 sometimes. I need to see where he finished, because he was involved in a couple incidents, or he was involved, or not involved, but he was more caught up in one of those late race incidents, not of his fault. So let's see where he finished real quick. I think this will, you know, tell us where he ended up finishing top 15. Like I said, they can contend for top 15. So I was super impressed with Carson Brown. He didn't make any enemies, and I think that's what you need to do in that equipment.
Okay, Jay.
Absolutely, and I don't know that I would say the future prospect, because I think he is the now.
Yeah.
There is rumor that he is going to be in that O'Reilly Auto Parts Series full time next year, as RCR needs a driver to fill their seats, and that is one. I know he doesn't have a lot of experience through these ARCA Menard Series platforms, but in the limited races that he's been, one of the series, I think he's been top 3 in every race he's been in. So that tells you, and I see the next audience question. I'm trying not to get into that yet.
Don't get into
but yeah,
that.
I think that he can be the next rookie of the year here in the O'Reilly Series if he gets that RCR seat. And I have no problem with him making that call and putting him in there.
Yeah, I think he's ready to move up into the O'Reilly Series. A top 15 for your first race, I think, is a pretty impressive run. So I do think he's ready. We're going to go to the next audience question here, which is, what is Carson Brown's biggest strength? Is it speed, consistency, racecraft, or all 3? So let's go to the audience first, give them a chance to kind of respond to that. And then I will post those answers right up here as soon as they come in. So speed, consistency. Hunter's here. Welcome,
All right.
Hunter.
Hunter, tell us where you're from. Yep, Hunter, tell us where you're from.
What state are you from? We're taking a roll call of what state everybody's from. I think his consistency is what Hunter believes is his strength. And I think that's true. He's from New Jersey.
I knew it was Northeast. I don't know that I would have pinned it on Jersey, but I remembered it being up there.
It says all three, I would say. If anything, the speed is the only thing I don't think is perfect yet. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. Any other responses from our audience? We'll be happy to put them up here. I'll leave that between the two of them. But while we're waiting for more responses to come in, Jay, I think it's your turn to go first.
That's good. I was under restraint. You said to wait on them. I was like, hurry up. I want to talk. And I got to disagree with not disagree. I would narrow it down to racecraft. Being that we've seen him jump from different series. I know the cars are similar, but different series, his background. I look at a driver like Kyle Larson that can get in any car, any atmosphere, whatever it is, and do so. So to me, that the number one thing would be racecraft. I can't, like I said, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with the consistency because that comes with your racecraft, but I would put it specifically as racecraft.
All right, Reed, your turn.
I also have to agree with you, Jay. I think it comes down to racecraft. I don't know how to describe it, but especially when you look at his races in the Cars Tour and, in the ARCA series, you would think that behind the wheel is like a 30-year-old veteran, and it's young Carson Brown. And I just think his race, it comes down to, how do I say this? You could also put consistency into that racecraft because he's a very steady driver and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And that's another aspect of consistency. I agree with all sports that speed is not yet perfect. He's fast. That's the truth. But I think speed is definitely, like raw pace is the weakest out of all those three. And that his racecraft is what makes him the most dangerous and what makes him such a great prospect right now.
And we've seen him in only a few races, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
But the thing that has impressed me is his racecraft, his consistency. But I would add another adjective up here, and that would be his maturity. I think he's shown a great deal of maturity as a race car driver. So that's where I would put Carson Brown.
I especially think
Go ahead.
the growth in terms of, or kind of his rankings up the ladder in terms of prospect wise has been he's risen through, the headlines super, super fast. And I think we're going to hear even more from him next year or this year as it goes on.
Yeah, Sharon, if you'd had maturity as a separate answer there, I'd had a tough call to make between racecraft and maturity because you're 100% right. I would kind of bring that under racecraft as you develop that. But if they were two separate, that would be a tough call to say whether it's racecraft or maturity.
Okay, we're going to go to Max Reeves next. He finished in 4th place. He's real close on the championship points. It's really McKee versus Reeves in the championship battle. And we talked already about the experience versus the momentum. So let me go to an audience poll here. Who wins in the ARCA East? And I think we kind of answered this already, but I'm going to put it up here. Who do you think is going to win the championship here? Is it going to be Tristan McKee, Max Reeves, or somebody else? Or is it too close to call? And I know where Jay is already. He's in the too close to call. Okay. So audience, we'll look for you to tell us. You might have already told us, but tell us again who you think is going to win this ARCA East Championship. Is it going to be All Sports All Day says Reeves and McKee wreck each other on lap 200 in turn 4, and GOAT Isaac Kitzmiller wins the championship.
I wanted to make
Max
that joke
Reeves
so
a crazy
bad.
comeback. Hunter says Max Reeves or a crazy comeback from Thomas Annunziata. Okay. Anybody else want to join in the conversation here with who you think is going to win the ARCA East Championship in September? We've got a lot of time to think about it if you don't want to answer now. Thomas A doesn't run East full time. That is true.
You got the two standings there mixed up. I agree. He could win the race if he's in it. We'll have to wait and see if he's in it when the entry list comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. All Sports says all day says that would be awesome, but Reeves will for sure. Okay, so who do you guys think?
I stay in that too close to call. As I said, I do kind of lean towards Max Reeves. There is that scenario of that what you had posted there. If they happen to be side by side and take each other out, and Isaac Kitzmiller capitalizes, we've seen it in the past, him get his first actual win. Because again, remember he won the championship without winning a race last year. So that would be a fitting scenario for Isaac Kitzmiller. But I'm in the too close to call, but I lean towards Reeves.
Okay, and All Sports All Day is right. It is a combination event, so Thomas and Annunziata will be in that race.
Okay.
Reed?
Yeah, so I'm still going to go with Tristan McKee, but I'm not as confident as I was, especially talking about Bristol. But, he is ahead of him in the standings right now, and position-wise, points are very similar. So if Tristan McKee can just pull something out and maybe Max Reeves struggles, I think Tristan McKee is going to be the one to take it. But I'm going to go with Tristan McKee.
Yeah, I'm kind of pulling for Tristan McKee. I've become more of a fan of his than I am of Max Reeves. But I do think it's too close to call. I think it's going to go down to the wire unless somebody has a big mechanical failure or something like that. But we'll see what happens. And
honestly, I think the fact that, and I didn't realize this, thank you All Sports All Day, I forgot it was another combo event. That actually does play in, because then you have Thomas and Annunziata, Jake Bowman, them doing their own points battle as well as in the East. So, yeah, that could be the actual determining factor. But we saw it this weekend. McKee and Reeves finishing fourth actually ran up there toe-to-toe with them. So I think it's going to be an interesting race.
Okay, one-word answers here for Reed and Jay. Okay. Jake Bowman, what's your one word for Jake Bowman?
Consistent.
I'm gonna hyphenate a word. Sitting duck.
Oh, nice.
Oh my. Isaac Kitzmiller, what's your one word, Reed?
Goat. That's for All Sports.
Oh, okay. What's yours?
Unrecognized.
Oh, interesting. Reed, what was your one word?
For
Kitzmiller,
yeah.
It was a goat.
No, he said that was All Sports All Day.
I said I chose the goat, and that was for All Sports All Day.
Oh, gotcha.
If I had to go with one, I'd say sneaky.
Sneaky. Okay, there you go. Okay, Gavin Bichelle, one word. Jay?
Phenomenal.
Reed?
Fast.
Thomas and Annunziata, Reed?
Pole, because he wins a lot of poles.
Okay.
Bitten.
Jay?
Bitten, because he's coming, but he keeps getting bit.
Okay. Next one, Ryan Vargas, Jay.
Oh, hero.
Okay. Reed?
Quiet.
Okay. Who's your young driver to watch, Reed?
Out of all those guys? Or just...
Well, out of anybody.
Carson Brown.
Okay. Jay?
Oh, Cole Denton. I'll pick one. Cole Denton.
Ooh. Yeah, he's on the West Coast, but we're talking East. And
like I said, my initial response was all.
Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the audience comments here. I've got a feeling there were some coming in while we were on that question. Let me take this down. Okay. And see if I can. Oh, my ketchup bottle. I forgot to get my ketchup bottle. Okay. At Lime Rock, I literally got to talk to all of these guys. Max and Isaac were so much fun to talk to. Very cool. Best driver to talk to was Alex Clubb. I thought about inviting him on the show sometime. All Sports All Day says second, GOAT. Okay, he did say GOAT. Way to go, Reed. And then Jay has Pascagoula on his mind. He does.
Yeah, you got to stop that song. Yeah, that song's in my head. That's why I was doing this. You're gonna get that song in my head, and I'm gonna have to sing it, and then Sharon's gonna have to mute me and take me off the show.
Oh dear. Okay. What's your takeaway? Your ARCA takeaway, and I've got to get my key takeaway graphic up here while you're thinking about your takeaway. Reed, your key takeaway.
My key takeaway, ARCA would be more fun with constant live pit stops.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
We haven't talked about it at all. That's the first thing on my mind.
Yeah, okay. I've seen that one on social media where they talk about that.
What's your key takeaway, Jay?
The tightened points battles. Both of them are well within range for several, at least the two drivers in the one, but three now for the other. So yeah, I say the tightened points battle.
All right. All Sports All Day says, man, I'd love to see these kids in all equal cars. Yeah, that would be something. A little more parity. Yeah, because I think you'd see other drivers up there toward the front. Some of these veterans would be up toward the front. But there are a lot of key takeaways we can take from the ARCA race. McKee has momentum. Reeves has championship pressure, and Brown is becoming a driver to watch for sure. So definitely some key takeaways there. Let's move on to the NASCAR O'Reilly Series. We'll do the race recap and some hot topics here. Let's see. I've got to bring this up on screen for the race results. And Reed, I'm going to let you cover the race results here as soon as I get them up here. I got to take the key takeaways down so I can put up our race results. I need a producer behind the scenes taking care of all this for me. Okay, here we go. Carson Kvapil was our race winner in the O'Reilly Series.
Sure was.
59 points.
Yeah, here, scroll down a little so I can see the results.
Oh, you don't want to cover the win margin or the laps led?
Yeah, I can. So Carson Kvapil comes home with the win after 2 late race restarts. He holds off for the lead. He wins by 0.3 of a second and leads only 9 laps, although he was there in contention all the way till the end of the race.
And he gained a lot of points.
Yes, he did.
In the standings here. Okay.
All right. So first off, the running order got really shuffled there at the end, but coming home with the win is Carson Kvapil. Coming home second is Rajat Karuth, who he was running 15th or no, he wasn't. He was running like 7th, 8th most of the day, but he comes home second. William Sawalich had an up and down day. He got spun early. He finishes third. Ross Chastain, he was the man to beat in the closing laps, but a caution takes away that win. He finishes 4th in his last O'Reilly Auto Parts race of the season. We got Sheldon Creed getting a top 5 with Nick Sanchez with Peterson Racing Group in 6th. Great run for him. Taylor Gray finishes 7th, and Dean Thompson, who was just announced that he'll be running with Haas Factory Team next season in a 3rd full-time car. He finishes 8th. His teammate Harrison Burton finishes 9th, and Brennan Poole with Alpha Prime Racing finishes 10th. So a lot of wrecks there at the end, and a lot of opportunities for guys to get some good finishes relative to where they were running.
Yeah. Parker Retzlaff, I was pulling for him all race long. He was kind of back in the pack.
Yeah.
So for him to finish 13th, I think was amazing recovery for him.
Yeah, he did not have that great of a car, but he got a very respectable finish.
He did. Brandon Jones with that 14th. Carson Brown in his debut had that 15th place finish. Brent Cruz was a wrecking crew of himself. I know Austin. Justin Allgaier talked to him after the race, and I was happy to see that. It was a respectable conversation, and I think a conversation that needed to take place. So just to kind of cover some of these other drivers, Anthony Alfredo, Justin Allgaier ended up in 24th at the end of the race because of Brent Cruz. Let's see, Ryan Sieg, who was up at the front for a good part of the day. I thought he might go after that win. I was so disappointed. I felt bad for Corey Day, who also had a bad day, and Jesse Love. Mason Maggio, you want to talk about Mason Maggio?
Yeah, Mason, hopefully we'll have him on the show soon for an interview, but he was actually having a pretty good day. He stayed on the lead lap for most of it, was on track to finish well inside the top 20 until, Patrick Starpoli did Patrick Starpoli things and kind of hooked him on the straightaway, and he saved it, but he got a lot of kind of undercarriage damage from having some severely flat tires. But he ends up not finishing the race and finishes 34th.
Okay, the standings, Jay, for the series.
All right, I was doing some catch up of my own there on the comments section. Love you guys being in there. The standings.
Yeah,
and I'm going to start with.
Let me get my ketchup bottle ready.
When we go to the standings, I'm going to go to second place because that's where Carson Kvapil is. Justin Allgaier's out to a 238-point lead. And that's decreased after this week with where he finished, and it's still at 238. Kvapil, though, getting up there and mixing it up now, being a true championship contender conversation bit. Then in third, you have Sheldon Creed, who did gain a spot over Jesse Love. Jesse Love, another one that had kind of an off day there, back to fourth now. Then Corey Day, Brandon Jones, Austin Hill, Sammy Smith, Parker Retzlaff, and Sam Mayer. And the reason I read them all together, they all stayed in their same points position. The points gaps might have changed, but they didn't move anywhere. 11th place, up 2 positions, William Sawalich, Brent Cruz down 1, as well as Taylor Gray. That cut line, Sharon and I did our bits and pieces on that. That exactly what we talked about. Shifting, could blow up at any point. Obviously, Minnesota, happy to see William Sawalich at least on the plus side. But look at it here, and these are all Joe Gibbs Racing cars. Sawalich is in 11th, 598. Brent Cruz, 598 as well. Sawalich has the win, whereas Cruz doesn't. That's the cut line. 13th is Taylor Gray, 597. That is 3 drivers, 1 point apiece, 1 race to go. It's Daytona. You can't ask for anything more. I feel sorry for Joe Gibbs.
It's going to be exciting. Okay, so you saw it briefly there. I found my catch-up so that we can do a little catch-up time here on our live chat feature. Let's see here. Where did I leave off? You guys have been busy. I don't know who we're talking about, but he says, I hope he didn't make Dale Jr. cry again. Oh, Carson Kvapil. I know who he's talking about. And then Hunter says, this year I've seen Carson progressing. Didn't matter what car they put him in. He competed most tracks, now back-to-back wins. Yes, he's had an amazing couple of races here. P3 Sawalich, let's go. I know Jay is with you on that, Jamie.
Absolutely.
All Sports All Day says Junior was probably already crying from all the rain and heat while staying up to 2 a.m. for Cars Tour at Hickory that night. That's probably true. And then he says, I like Starpoli, but he is a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I like
this isn't the
Staropoli
first.
too.
Yeah, unfortunately, this isn't the first race for something like this to happen. So
I know.
hope he can clean it up.
Okay, Jamie says, I know I missed the Hickory race in the same county as me. Darn. And then All Sports, I would love to go to Hickory. The worn out surface is so cool. That is a very historic track. I wish Corey Day didn't spin out. You and me both. I was so disappointed when that happened to him. Why no media member talking about Love dumping Carson Ware for zero reason while 60 laps down and Smith dumping Day for zero reason? Yeah, I'll tell you, these guys were really overly aggressive on the track. But I got to say, Iowa Speedway is a very tricky track in a lot of ways. Very slippery. Those bumps over in turn 3, if you're not familiar with them, they can throw your car into a tumultuous situation, and we saw that happen. Day got dumped by Sammy Smith, not the first time he's done it, as we all know. Martin, hey, I've already said enough. And then the facts of Walich and Gray are even close is kind of sad.
Yeah.
So a lot of comments there.
All Sports all day. I know you haven't been here in a while, but if you have an opinion, share it. I mean, don't hold back. All right.
He never does. He never does. And
he's trying to make up.
Brings his wooden spoon. We've got to get a wooden spoon graphic. I say that every week. And
I know. I forgot.
Okay. So, okay, we're going to move on now in our discussion here because I think we're already off of our schedule. Let's talk about Carson Kvapil. He had an Indianapolis breakthrough, back-to-back victories, 63 starts without a win before Indianapolis, and suddenly he's one of the hottest drivers in the series. He has confidence, he has momentum, and he is a chase contender. I do have an audience poll here for our audience, so get ready for your audience poll here, guys. I'll take this down first. And here we go. The next slide is Kvapil's 2-race streak is a hot streak, a championship turnaround, or both. So let's hear it from the audience. Stone Cold, you guys never know what I'm thinking. Who really impressed me in O'Reilly was Raja, knowing he needed a good finish and chase bubble time ticking. And Jamie Schweitzer answers Christian McKee. I don't know what that has to do with, let's talk about Carson Kvapil, his 2-way streak. Is it a hot streak or is it a championship turnaround or both? Come on, guys. Okay, hot streak, Jamie says. Let's see what the rest of the guys say here.
Oh, Willow's in the house.
Willow Spicewood is in the house. And says neither of those things.
Wow.
So what is it if it's not any of those things? Hunter says Kvapil can be a sneaky champ outright day if it's not Allgaier.
Right. If it's not Allgaier, there's the key.
Okay, and All Sports All Day championship turnaround. I think he'll keep up the consistency. No offense, I hope he doesn't win the ship. That's Justin's. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I think Justin is deserving of that championship. Willow Spice, what do you mean by neither? What is it?
And
if
where are you from?
A hot streak or a championship turnaround? And also, we're asking everybody to tell us what state they're from. And Willow Spicewood says it's just 2 wins. Okay, it is indeed that, just 2 wins. So do you care to share with us what state you're from, Willow Spicewood? I'm from Illinois. Reed is from Texas Yeehaw. And
yes, Texas.
Jay is from Mississippi, Minnesota. North Kakalaki. I've never heard of that state.
It's no.
Tucson, Arizona, he says.
There we go.
Oh, we've got the country We're nationwide. We've got the whole country represented
Nice.
here. The
All
West,
right. Good deal.
the East, the South, and the Midwest.
That's great.
So that is fantastic. Okay, moving along. North Crackalacky is the nickname for North or South Carolina. Oh, thank you.
Oh, I didn't know y'all included South Carolina in that. I thought it was just North Carolina. That's nice you include the South.
Okay.
How kind
So here's our main debate for you guys now. Is Carson Kvapil now the driver to beat? Jay, you start this one.
Certainly right now. I mean, you look at it when you talk about back-to-back weeks, the difference between Indianapolis and a short track like Iowa. For me, this isn't a surprise because it's been that consistency and coming. We didn't know when. So I think we're seeing the fruition of everything they put in. And I have to, get on myself, because I talked about Rajah Caruth jumping seats and being in the 88 for the rest of the year and how good that was for him. Kvapil is also now solidly back in that number one. And again, that's just going to be to his benefit. So, yeah, right now, I think he is. There's still some contenders. I'm not saying he's unbeatable, but you go 2 in a row, 3 in a row, you're the driver to beat until somebody does.
All right, I can read your body language.
Yeah, I disagree pretty strongly here. Who are the guys that Carson Kvapil beat? Well, not last week, the week before last week at Indianapolis, it was Justin Allgaier who finished right behind him in second and was hard charging. This week at Iowa, Justin Allgaier was faster, but just had some trouble. And, this is not to discount Carson Kvapil, because right now I do absolutely believe he is a championship threat and he's gonna be there, and it's been some time coming for him to get his first win, and he's finally able to do it, especially on the shorter, flatter tracks. Those are definitely his strengths, but Justin Allgaier is still definitely the guy to beat, because we look at Carson Kvapil getting these wins and Allgaier has not gone away at all. I mean, he ran the fastest lap in Indy, was right behind Carson in terms of lap times at Iowa. So it's still Justin Allgaier, but Carson Kvapil, he is making it interesting.
All right. And I got to pull up my controversy. We've got a controversy here. They don't agree. Yeah, I think I kind of agree with Yellow Spicewood. Not yellow. What is it? Willow Spicewood. That it's just 2 races. And then Jamie China chimed in and said, no, not yet. I think another bubble driver might get 2 wins in a row next. And then Willow Spicewood says, all JRM all the time, Allgaier. So who's the other bubble driver that might get a couple of wins here, Jamie? Tell us who you think that is. And
William Sawalich.
Tough to beat. JRM is making history, breaking records all over the place. I think Allgaier is the driver to beat. And he does say Sawalich, Jay. Kvapil is no Joe Gibbs from 2021. Okay. Maybe he found something. He might have found something. I think he had some impressive wins. To Reed's point, he did beat some of the best drivers out there, but I do think Justin Allgaier was right there on his heels, and probably would have been if he hadn't gotten taken out by Brent Cruz. So I do think it's going to be a fun. The next race for them is Daytona. So Daytona is going to be very interesting. That is their season finale. So it's going to be interesting. And Jamie says Sawalich is who he thinks is the next bubble driver that's going to get some wins. All Sports All Day says, I will personally send Jay $1 if Sawalich gets more than 1 win from now until the end of 2027. $1 up for grabs there, Jay.
I think you ought to send $1 for every win, because I think I could get $3 or $4 then. He's in that same boat as Kvapil. It's that once you get that first one and get in a consistent groove, which is where Kvapil is at right now. And to me, the key factor there is Rodney Childers. I think that their relationship, him being back in the car, that's starting to click. They showed him over the weekend, talked to him. I think that's the secret weapon there.
Jamie Schweitzer says, when you compete against Cup drivers and do better, that's a great sign. And it is indeed. I think Carson Kvapil has come a long way from where he was at the early part of this season. And I think he is going to be a contender during the chase. So don't get me wrong. But I think he's going to have to beat Justin Allgaier to get that championship.
Oh, certainly. I mean, I'm not disputing that. I think the championship is still in Allgaier's hands. But going back to what Willow said, it's just 2 wins. When we talk about any of the other competitors, if they have a shot at Allgaier, Sheldon Creed's only got 1. Jesse Love doesn't have any. Corey Day's only got 2. Jones 1. Hill 2. William Sawalich 1. Taylor Gray 1. I mean, Justin Allgaier's got the most. There's no doubting that.
All right, I'm going to move on to storyline number 2, which is the overtime drama. 2 overtime attempts. The race goes 10 laps beyond the scheduled distance. The margin of victory was that 0.3 of a second that Reed told us about it. Reed's restarts determine the outcome, track position versus tire advantage. Okay, this time for an audience debate now. Overtime is, let me see if I've got a graphic on this one. I think I do. Overtime is great racing, too much chaos, or both. This is for the audience, but I will put up some other answers here while they work on their answers. Let's ask ourselves this. If Sawalich's daddy didn't win Sound Gear Starkey with all that money, would he still be in that seat next year? We can't seriously say yes. Oh, he's bringing a big wooden spoon.
Yeah, he always does.
Hunter says Carson will stay in his number 1 car the rest of the season as well. All Sports All Day says after being behind Brennan Poole and Alpha Prime Racing last year in points. Jamie Schweitzer says he agrees with All Sports All Day. Okay, now we're getting to the audience debate. Overtime is great racing. Hunter Blazer agrees, great racing. All Sports All Day says neither. OT is not the advertised distance and throws off strategy. Ooh, okay. Now, Reed, it's your turn.
I think overtime is flawed. But
good word.
Jamie, to your point, when you say it throws off strategy, I find that as a huge positive because that makes races more exciting and it tests like what crew chiefs and what teams are able to execute and adapt to those types of situations. And, there are parts of overtime that I don't like. I don't always like that it's only 2 laps, especially on some of the shorter tracks, because 2 laps at Daytona or Indianapolis, well, there's no passing there anyways, but 2 laps at Michigan or Daytona is much different than 2 laps at Martinsville. And I think that's one of the biggest flaws in that it doesn't really give the best chance for pure racing to happen. But that's kind of what happens when a caution happens in the closing laps. It's kind of like, maybe a little bit of a punishment. I don't know. I'm leaning towards pro overtime, but it's part of NASCAR.
Okay, Jay. Before you answer, though, I do want to say Willow Spicewood says neither Cup nor O'Reilly Series got a chance to try the new NASCAR rule for stage breaks. That's true. I was hoping maybe we'd see that in action, but it didn't work out that way this time. But I will say Iowa Speedway is known for their long green flag runs. All Sports All Day says, I'm sorry, I don't think we should ever end under caution, make it ARCA overtime 1 lap, have to finish under green. Jay, your thoughts?
Well, there's some things I want to pull from what Reed said. The flawed was a very good word of that. And so what Sharon, you got up there is the options. I wouldn't say it's great racing. I'd say it's a part of racing. It is what it is. What Reed said of on a short track, maybe give it 3 to 5 laps instead of verse 2. I like where you're thinking there because you're right. 2 laps at a short track, I mean, you ain't got the time to do anything or make any moves. So I kind of like that. But the chaos, again, that to me goes back to, I mean, that is part of racing. So I got to put it under the both category. But like I said, I'm not going to say it's great racing. It's a part of racing. And I'm with Reed. That, to me, you got to prepare for the unknown, which is part of the strategy. So I'm all for it. But I wouldn't mind seeing some modifications to it.
All right. Jamie says, any cautions more than 3 laps within the last 20 laps of a race, it should go red to have a natural green flag finish, in my opinion. And I think that's an interesting idea. I was just thinking in my head, I wonder, I guess there's not a way to do it. I guess you have to call cautions if there's debris that's on the track. If there's a wreck, there's going to be lots of debris. They got to clean that up. I was thinking it would be really cool if they could, if the driver that's involved, never mind what I was thinking. I was out in left field somewhere because it could never work. But I wish there were never cautions. Jay?
Well, to bring up this point, y'all and I'm not saying this against y'all. I love the interaction, but I'm going to say fans in general. They say, we want to see it finish under green, run as many as you have to. Y'all were just talking about race till 2 a.m. I've been at the dirt track where they try to do that, of get some green flag runs in. Then what do you hear? Complaints. Oh, it took too long. That one race was an hour long, this and that. You can't please everybody.
That is true. Hunter says, most cautions I see in person is at Daytona, so it always brings a good shootout. That is true. It does end up being a shootout at the end, but they've invested all that time at the beginning of the race to lose it sometimes when there's a caution or a restart. So, yeah, that's the one I just put up. Okay, so that was an interesting one. I thought it might be an interesting one for us to talk about. Mm-hmm. I'm going back to my thing here. Okay, now this is a debate for you guys. Does overtime create better entertainment? I can't remember. Is it Reed's turn?
I think it's Jay's turn.
Okay, Jay.
The fact that you used the word entertainment, yes. I'll say entertainment, yes. Goes back to my thing. Is it great racing? No, not necessarily. I fall with Sharon on that. I would rather see there not be a caution for that reason, but it does provide entertainment. And hey, restarts and getting a good start, and that's the next part of the next question. I'll wait with that. Go ahead, Reed.
Yes, don't get into my next question yet.
Well, I think objectively, it depends, but yes, I think it is. They're entertaining. You go to a racetrack, everyone stands up for the restarts and starts of the race, and
yes,
because those are typically the most exciting parts. But like a grizzled veteran NASCAR fan, they typically kind of understand that overtime and restarts don't necessarily equate to good racing and a deserving finish. But on paper, I mean, yeah, it's entertaining. But back to what Jay said, I think you may have implied it, but we don't want NASCAR to strive purely for entertainment.
Yeah, we don't want to.
I'm a WWE fan. You can say it. Script the outcome.
But I do think that racing is entertainment for a lot of fans. And so overtime does create better entertainment, to answer the exact question. Does it put too much pressure, too much emphasis on a final restart? Let me check our comments here. Are there comments coming in? Okay. Only if the leader prior to the caution is leading by a mile. Okay. And then Jamie, that was Hunter's comment. Jamie says, no, I think it creates hype and more opportunities for additional advertising revenue, not great racing. And I have to agree with him there. It creates more opportunities for related wrecks causing more overtime tries. And that's exactly what we saw in the O'Reilly series. It seemed like it just started creating more and more cautions.
Cautions breed
breeding
cautions.
cautions.
Yep.
Exactly. Okay, so the next question was, does it put too much emphasis on that final restart? Jay? No, Reed, it's your turn.
Yeah, I think it does. Overtime is one of, like, I don't know, like, it's hard to put into words. Overtime is not super, super popular, but neither is, like, ending a race under yellow or just calling it short. And yeah, I think it does put too much emphasis on the last restart because everything before that was arguably more important and set up that restart. But it's kind of like a what can you do thing. And, but like Jay said, it's a part of racing. That's what it is. Go to any track and they've got overtime.
Okay, Jay?
Yes, the question is, does it put too much emphasis? Yeah, I would have to say so, because again, you can have the best race, get that final caution, restart, and something happen. But also go back to who we were talking earlier about, racecraft. Getting restarts right is something several drivers have said, hey, I got to up my game. I think back to Ron Hornaday Jr., king of the restarts. If you gave him an opportunity in the final closing laps to be top 5 within a restart, you were in trouble because he was a master. It's part of racecraft. Yep, exactly. That's part of your racecraft.
And I think it does put a lot of pressure on that final restart. I would, if emphasis means pressure, yeah, it does. It puts a lot of pressure on that final restart, and that's where cautions start to breed more cautions, I think. And then the last question here, you guys can think about this while I catch up on the comments. Should the current overtime format be changed? And Jay, will go to you first on that. But Jamie says absolutely to the previous question. Willow Spice says one question I had about the new stage break rule, say a wreck. One question I had about the new stage break rule. Okay, I'm not quite sure what the question.
It just got cut off, I think.
Okay. And then Jamie says, and the fuel savings emphasis is raised as well with overtimes. That's true. If somebody's on the edge with fuel, what are we supposed to do in the race with a wreck with 8 to go? Yeah. Is it perfect? No, but I don't understand all the hate. Yeah, I think it's a necessary thing that has to happen. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. And actually, the drivers control how many cautions we have. So it's in the driver's hands, the number of cautions that we have. So that's one way to look at it. Okay, Jay.
I want to go back. I know you were sorting through a lot there, but Hunter Blazer had one too. I think it had to do with the entertainment question. It says only if the leader prior to the caution is leading by a mile. And that's where I don't want to see it come out, just because there is a big gap, because then you're talking about scripted, and NASCAR is going to take a lot of heat. They already do if it's somebody's not favorite driver or the fan favorite doesn't come out on it. So that's where you run into that discussion, is if fans feel that NASCAR picked who they wanted to win. In response,
Day says, Jamie, you're a Logano fan. I thought you'd love overtimes.
Oh,
another big spoon moment here.
All right. The question, should the current overtime format be changed? All I got to say is NASCAR should call and talk to Reed. Reed, you had some very good things that you brought out earlier. I think it definitely could be modified and improved upon. So I'm going to let it go to you now.
Okay, Reed.
I like All Sports' comment. NASCAR has zero history of phantom degree cautions. What are you talking about?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of necessary. We've been talking about it, but we've already talked about it enough, and there's just not much else you can do. Nobody wants to see a race end under yellow. That's no fun. That's why ratings also drop for races that end early because of rain. And I think you have to end it under green. It's just a matter of how I like this comment here. Jamie Schweitzer, if a caution comes out in the last 10 laps, we should have another standard 5 bonus laps instead of a green-white finish to guarantee a better finish. I think when you do that, that also lowers the opportunity and amount of wrecks you might see.
Okay. Yeah. How about if a caution comes out? Should we have a standard 5 bonus laps instead of green? Yeah, I think I would like that better to some degree. I think it would eliminate the cautions breeding more cautions. And then Willow Spicewood says a question I had was with the new stage break rule. If a caution comes out with 7 laps to go and they go back racing 4 laps later, do they add the remaining 3 laps to the next stage? Yes, they do.
Yep. They don't take away any laps. It's just they count that as the stage break. It just came 7 laps early, but they're still going to run the at least the required number of laps. You knew this was coming. Yeah, you knew this was coming.
Sounds good, but I say if it was 5 instead of green, white checker, 2024 Nashville would still be going on.
Yeah, that's
go ahead, Reed.
If every single, you say you get to 2 laps to go and then another wreck happens and then you start back at 5 and then you start, cautions might not breed cautions, but then you start laps breeding laps and you don't want to go too far over the advertised distance. So I think there could be a compromise there with how you do things. Like maybe we start out with a 5 lap green 5 lap finish and then go to a final 2 lap green white checkered after that.
It's one of those at some point you got to draw the line. I mean, you're trying to give fans what they want. You're trying to not screw a team by running them out of gas, and totally hosing their strategy. I think there is a good balance right now. I'm with Reed. I think that different tracks should maybe have a different set as far as rules. And I've said this, I know with the packages, they have different packages for the size of track. I think they could do that with the laps. At Daytona, 2 laps works, a lap up to speed and a lap shootout. But I think short tracks, you could go to 3 to 5 initially. Again, if there's something happens in those laps, then it's down to 2. That's as the driver's doing. So y'all want to have it a 5-lap shootout, you got to run them, not wreck them.
Okay, I'm going to move on to our next storyline, and we're going to kind of go through these very quickly because we're already way behind our schedule. Rajah Caruth in junior motorsports. He had a runner-up finish at Iowa. Kvapil, Caruth, Chastain in the top 4. Junior motorsports definitely showing strength all season long. We always say it's hard to keep that up for an entire season. They have done it for the last 2 years. Caruth's championship position, he certainly improved his chances. But we've got another audience question that I'm going to throw out here, and that is, who is the biggest O'Reilly Series championship threat? Is it Kvapil, Allgaier, Creed, or somebody else? I can't. Whoops. Hold on. I got to go back. What do we do here?
There we go. Right there. Oh, no, you went by it.
Okay. So, audience question. Let's see. We've got a lot going on here. Jamie Schweitzer says Allgaier. He's a Sunoco Rewards winner.
That has to do with the Logano. Yeah, you got to back up. That's good. They got a whole Logano thing going on.
Oh, there's a Logano. I see a lot of giggles and laughing going on in our chat room. So I'll let you guys check that out. And All Sports All Day says, better watch out for Josh Perlicki. He's a full-time driver I'm keeping my eye on. Could give Allgaier a scare. Allgaier and Day, Hunter says. So I think those are good answers. We got anybody else that wants to chime in there? Reed, go ahead and tell us who you think is the biggest championship threat.
Yeah, outside of well, it's obviously Allgaier, but I think it is Kvapil. He's been doing this all year. He almost won at Phoenix. He had a solid third at Darlington, and he's been pretty much in contention, at least for top 5 everywhere. I think it's Carson Kvapil.
Jay?
Well, again, I'm going to kind of misword the question. It's championship threat to Justin Allgaier, because I think Allgaier is the one to beat when it comes to the championship. Right now, it appears to be Kvapil, but as we get into this chase, we've seen Creed look like he's the one closing in. Under the other category, Corey Day. So I think we have to wait and see who's carrying that momentum as we get into the chase. But I think at the top, it's still Allgaier.
At the top, it is still Allgaier. I'm going to say keep your eye on Carruth, though. He just finished second at a difficult track, which is Iowa Speedway. And I know he's not in the chase yet, but he could make a difference at Daytona. So, but Kvapil would be the other answer, of course. I think he is a big threat, too. Okay.
As unfortunate as it is, I think with Carruth, we see what we saw with Lane Riggs a couple years ago. Didn't get into the playoffs, but came out and did his 3-race win thing and showed he should have been.
Okay. Our next storyline is the chase bubble. William Sawalich, Brent Cruz above the cut line. Then you got Taylor Gray, Raja Carruth below. Extremely tight points battle. Daytona implications, and another pick 2 drivers out of that group that you think is going to make it into the chase. The 2 that will and the 2 that won't. So this is an audience question. Wooden spoon. I think Sawalich gets 2 more wins. He's the front runner to replace Hamlin in 28. So interesting. That's from Jamie Schweitzer. So William Sawalich is one of his picks. Who's your other driver? All Sports All Day says Cruz and Gray. Cruz and Gray is who he's saying. Anybody else? Jamie, who's your second driver to make it in? Willow Spicewood and Hunter. Hunter says Raja and Cruz. Ooh, interesting. Okay, I don't know who Jamie, Sawalich and Gray is who Jamie is saying. Okay, so Jay, who are your 2 to make it in?
You didn't give me that category to cop out on. I can't argue against any of them. I think this is absolute, and it's Daytona, so I don't think you can pick 2. My heart, obviously, I want to. All Sports is reneging on his deal. Sorry, I got distracted. With my heart, obviously, I would like for it to be Sawalich. Based on the year, even though he hasn't had the win, I think Brent Cruz has showed the most ability to. So I'll go Sawalich and Cruz, but I really believe it could be any 2 of the 4.
Yeah, my guesses are Sawalich and Raja Carruth.
Wow.
At this point. And I'm going to say because of momentum, I think Raja is going to be in that number 88 for the rest of this year. And so I think we saw what he did at Iowa. We'll see what he does at Daytona, which is more of a wild card. But I think he might make it in. And I think William Sawalich is kind of on an upswing. He got himself into the chase this weekend at Iowa. So I got to go with the guys that have the momentum on their side. Cruz was a wrecking ball at Iowa, and I've kind of lost my faith in him. I'm kind of hoping he doesn't make it at this point after really rooting for him in the early part of the season. Gray, I would love to see Gray get in. I think he's worked really hard at it this season. So if Raja or William Sawalich don't make it in, I hope Gray does.
Sharon has soured on Brent Cruz. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't like what he was doing at Iowa this weekend. And then all this and whoever gets in is almost 100 points behind Allgaier or more.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay. Did you guys give your answers already?
Reed's got to go.
Yeah,
Reed?
I'm just gonna. I think Cruz and Taylor Gray are gonna get in. Brent Cruz, I remember, if I remember correctly, I may be wrong, but I feel like he was pretty close to winning at Talladega in the spring. And Roger Cruz, I think he's just a little bit too far back. I think him and Sawalich in particular are very vulnerable to wrecks. Same as Gray. I mean, these guys could go any way, but I'm just gonna go with Cruz and Gray. Not think too much about it. I wouldn't be surprised with any of these.
I'm not sour on Cruz. I think he's a talented driver. I just think he still lacks the maturity. Okay. Jay, where did you go? He's trying to avoid this question.
No, I started. I said my heart says William Sawalich.
Oh, okay.
And then Rajah Cruz, or I'm sorry, Brent Cruz, just based on the momentum and whatnot. But I would not be surprised. I said it's tough to pick because it's Daytona.
It is. It is very tough to pick because it's Daytona. Okay. We have a lot of really good interaction here. Okay. So, okay, we gave our picks. Okay, your key takeaway here, Jay.
The fact that the bubble is 4 drivers, 1 point, 3 of them being junior JGR. I think the bubble is going to be more watched than anything else at Daytona.
Reed?
My takeaway is that the Cup Series JGR program is way different than the O'Reilly Series JGR program.
Okay. And audience, what's your key takeaways here for the O'Reilly Series? And we're really going to have to move on these next 2 races. Okay. My key takeaway, Kvapil has momentum. The championship bubble is very tight, and Daytona is going to be critical.
Can't argue that.
Can't argue that. Okay, key takeaway from Jamie. JGR is the bubble when they should be much higher. And All Sports All Day says, we are looking at the wrong people being the real problems is my takeaway. Possibly so. And then Willow Spice Wood says, same as Jay. Did we catch
All right, we got another William Sawalich. Yeah, I got another William Sawalich fan. All right.
Okay. Okay. So thank you, everybody, for participating here tonight. We're going to move on. And like I say, I'm going to try to expedite this because we are way behind our schedule. The ARCA West race, the race recap. The results, I can tell you, Mason Massey was the winner. Kyle Steckley came in second. Haley Deegan was third. Ethan Tovo fourth. Eric Johnson Jr. fifth place. It was a wild last lap sequence, and it was Ethan Tovo and Sam Corey, who we thought were going to contend for the win, wrecked each other. Kyle Steckley got caught up in everything as well, and it opened the door for Mason Massey. He was fourth on that restart, and when it was all said and done, Mason Massey was the winner. So an amazing finish in the ARCA West Series race here. We'll cover the points at the end here, Jay.
All right.
But I'm not going to cover the finishes because we'll just stick to the top 5 here. Mason Massey, it was his second win of the season, wasn't leading when the final lap began. He moved forward as the leaders got into trouble. Kyle Steckley, I think, went off track, and that's what sidelined him. He moved patience and positioning, capitalized when the opportunity appeared. So here's the audience question for this topic. We'll bring it up now. Was Mason Massey's win skill, luck, or a combination of skill and luck? So I think it was a combination of both. He had to be in fourth place to get there. 2 inches was the difference for Kyle Steckley, says All Sports All Day. All Sports says, one of the best laps I've ever seen. But if I'm Sam Corey, I'm livid. Guess when it's daddy's team, a 16-year-old can run you off track 3 times in 1 lap. Absolutely pitiful by Ethan Tobo. He called him Togo. All Sports, luck, and it's not even close. All Sports also says he should be running 4th in that car. He should be running 4th in that car. And then Jamie says, not sure in this particular instance, but he's a hard driver. Okay, Jay. Skill.
It's a combination, and you hit it. I mean, he's got the skill. We've seen him get a win. Still been quietly consistent throughout the year. He was in position to capitalize. Was it some luck? Yes. The guys in front of you wrecked, but you had to avoid the wreck, drive through it, and then still hold on to your own car. So I say it's a combination.
Reed?
I think it's a combination. I think it took a little bit more luck than skill, but, you know, he still had to make that last lap happen, which I think is very hard to do for anybody, regardless of how much luck they have. I thought it was a good win. I didn't watch the race, but I saw the highlights, and I think I'd lean a bit. I think it's a combination. I would just lean a bit more towards luck. But moving on.
Yeah. I think it was a combination for sure. So these guys, okay, I think we've got all the audience questions. The debate questions are now for Jay and Reed. And Reed, we'll start with you on the debate questions. The question is, if I can get my notes up here, did Massey create the opportunity, or did circumstances simply fall his way?
Well, like Denny Hamlin says, you make your own luck, but yeah, the opportunities kind of cleared up for him. He still had to execute, but I'm leaning more towards kind of, the opportunities fell his way. But it's by no means like it's like just a lucky win, because I mean it kind of was, but he still had to make it happen. But good on Mason Massey. He was really clutch in that moment.
And I know Sal's trying to see if we can't get an interview with him. Well, I'm not sure if it's going to work out yet, so don't hold me to it. But it would be really great if he can make that happen. So watch for that as a possibility this week. Jay.
Yeah, he created his own opportunity by being in the 4th position, which is probably where he should have finished. But then the luck happened, bad luck for them, or aggressive driving. But he also then the skill to work his way through it. I'm with Reed it falls a little more on the luck side, but you had to skillfully not become engaged in what was happening in and around you and drive through it and go on to finish that lap. So he created his own opportunity by being in position to capitalize on the bad luck and his opportunity to seize it.
Yes. It's not like one car overdrove the corner when he was in 2nd. He was in 4th when a 16-year-old had a temper tantrum, and a kid in his 3rd start dropped a wheel in the last turn. Not luck. It's a miracle. And to some degree, I suppose that is true. But, because I don't think anybody expected that kind of a finish in the ARCA West. Yeah, but it was definitely a wild, wild finish. And I don't disagree with what All Sports All Day is saying. I know Kyle Steckley, his car went off the road trying to avoid the wreck. And that's what happened, trying to avoid what was happening with the other two. But we've seen that happen in other series and with more experienced drivers. So I can't say it was all that unusual, let's say.
Well, especially though, you think about the 2 you were talking about up front, top 3 actually, of, solid road course racers just got a little aggressive and, pushed a little too hard. We've talked about that.
All Sports All Day says, no, Steckley just overdrove it all by himself. Okay. And that's fine. But it was an amazing finish. Kyle Steckley, he had the second place finish. He was able to save it, even though he drove off the track for a second there. It was his West Series debut, so first time he ever raced in the West Series. It was an immediate impact, ability to handle Portland. He also potential future West Series appearances based on what he did at Portland. The audience question that I'm going to put up here is, should Kyle Steckley run more ARCA races? Yes or no? Or absolutely. So for the audience, should Steckley continue to race in the ARCA series? Tovo and Corey were well behind when Steckley got the lead. It was like Reed getting scared at Coronado.
He meant Rife.
Reed?
He meant Rife, Tyler Rife.
Rife, okay, yeah, I was going to say, why was Reed scared? Okay. Track troubles, any chance Rockingham is put up for sale before 2027? We'll see.
I don't think so.
Jamie says absolutely he should get a chance. And All Sports, get NASCAR back to Portland. Why did Reilly ever leave?
Yeah.
So, okay, Reed.
Yeah. Give him more. Give him more starts. Every driver deserves as much seat time as possible in order to get better. If people are upset about the way he's driven it all, well, then he should get more starts, and maybe it'll be better.
Yeah. If sponsorship and respect in the garage is there, yes. Those owners at Rockingham are in shambles. Yeah, it's really a shame to see that happening. Jay?
The answer is absolutely. That's how you develop your racecraft. Did he make a mistake? Does he have things to learn? Yes. And that's when more starts come in. So absolutely is the answer.
Okay. Haley Deegan. She had the third place finish, the first top 5 of the season, record-setting ARCA platform start, important confidence-building result. Can she build on her Portland performance? And again, another audience question here, and it involves Haley Deegan. Whoops. Where'd we go here? Can Haley Deegan turn Portland into a momentum shift? Yes or no? So what do you guys thought, Jay?
Yes, can and needs to. I mean, that's the whole point of when you have that good run of build it and get consistency. We see how that pays off in the long run.
Reed?
Yes, absolutely. I talked about how much I take momentum into account in sort of seasons. I think with how bad Sonoma ended early for her, I think this definitely a momentum shift.
Okay, All Sports All Day says no. Jamie says Haley Deegan is finding her home. I think she should keep her head down and keep progressing. And All Sports says she has shown literally negative speed and racecraft at short tracks while her teammate has done great.
We have a very cynical race fan.
Yeah, we do.
I just wish he'd share his opinion so we'd know.
I know he's got some definite opinions.
I'd like to say, All Sports, what you're saying is like not wrong. I'm just making fun of you.
Yeah, don't worry. We're not criticizing you. It's okay to have a different opinion. Okay, moving on to the West Series Championship. Trevor Huddleston's championship position is interesting. Cole Denton had a challenge at Portland. Huddleston's road course history, Denton's ability to close the gap, remaining championship races. So, who wins the ARCA West Championship? Is it going to be Cole Denton, or is it going to be Trevor Huddleston, or is somebody else going to jump up there and get that championship? I'm sorry, I was a Deegan fan in 2018 ARCA. She was rushed, and I say it now, Haley Deegan should never leave ARCA West until she is a champion. Don't rush her again, please. And I agree with that. I think they did rush her up too soon before.
Not the first and won't be the last.
Yeah. Roger Penske should buy Rockingham and have double headers with Indy and NASCAR. Jamie says, I'm high on Cole Denton. He reminds me of a young Kyle Larson. Yeah, Cole Denton has been very impressive this year. Let's not kid ourselves. It's Huddleston, says All Sports All Day. Jay?
All Sports All Day said it. It's his to lose. I'll say that. With it, it's down to 18 points. We saw the gap close up a little bit, but I just think Trevor Huddleston is too consistent. Barring anything extraordinary, I think it's his to lose. Cole Denton, I would like to see, and he's definitely climbing. Little too far back and late to get that run. I know they have a few more races left, but I think it's still a little bit too deep, 37 points back.
Okay, Reed.
To put it bluntly, and I know we're low on time, it's Trevor Huddleston.
Okay. I like various answers here. Okay, moving on to the audience check. What was the craziest moment? We know what the craziest moment was at Portland, and that ties into our key takeaway as well. What was your key takeaway, Reed?
That even in ARCA, especially in ARCA, anything can happen on the last lap.
Okay. All Sports says, yeah, Cole Denton might win, but I know who will be second.
Right.
Okay. Jay, your key takeaway?
Yeah, following up on what Reed said of don't leave till the checkered flag flies, and that includes if you're the driver. You could be running fourth and come away with the win.
Okay. Audience, you can chime in here too with your key takeaways. I think Mason Massey capitalized on the opportunity that fell into his lap. Steckley announced himself. Deegan got a much needed breakthrough result, and Huddleston versus Denton remains alive. So it is going to be the two against each other, I think, for this. They have more races. I think they have 5 or 6 more races before their season ends. So we may see a whole lot more of Cole Denton before it's all said and done. Key takeaway for Jamie, ARCA braking is not good for any desire to get in the higher series. Okay. So there you have it. We're going to move on to the Cup Series now. And there's a whole lot to talk about in the Cup Series here as well. We will start with the main event. Ty Gibbs wins. Christopher Bell, 7 second-place finishes. Ryan Blaney comes home 3rd. Denny Hamlin, with braking issues, came in 5th. Gibbs recovers from an early pit road setback. 2-tire strategy becomes decisive. Gibbs holds off Bell over the final 20 laps. Ty Gibbs, again, your leader. I gave you the top 5 drivers. The second Cup Series victory for Ty Gibbs, recovery after losing the track position, strong run performance, team strategy, 2-tire call by the pit box, and holding off Christopher Bell, who was right on his heels. So we go to the audience question here, which is, we already covered that one. Who was the better driver on Sunday? Was it Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell, or Ryan Blaney?
Wow, you got some tough
He
ones
says,
out here tonight,
"What did
Sharon.
I say? Sheldon Creed. I know. Gibbs and Jamie says Gibbs, the Blaney of JGR, not going to give up a win to a teammate. No way. Jamie says Sheldon Creed, or All Sports All Day says Sheldon Creed. Willow Spice Wood says Ty came out of the pit with a 4-second lead. Bell had to make that up and wore out his equipment. That's why he couldn't pass Ty. Hunter says Blaney, it was just a horrible pit crew that screwed him.
No.
Okay, your guys' turn. Reed, he says, I'm a Ty Gibbs fan. Better driver, got to give it to Ty, not a fan.
I think it's Ty Gibbs. I've said this word a lot, but he executed like pretty amazingly. One thing I'm not thrilled about is I think Iowa was just a little too hard to pass for it to be close to like natural. But Bell was right there, but I'm gonna give it to Ty Gibbs.
Okay. Jay.
Yeah, you got to give it to Gibbs. I mean, doing it on the 2 tires, and this is going to probably be my takeaway at the end, his maturity. I mean, and Bell even said it. He made the right moves and pressured Blaney to make a move where he could make his own move. He never got that from Gibbs. And yeah, he did burn his up a little bit. We saw that of getting in a little deep. I was actually surprised. When Bell came out and made up the time right away and got to his bumper, I figured Gibbs was done with 50-some laps to go on 2 tires, but he held on. I was impressed with his maturity.
Yes, I think he showed a very high degree of maturity and patience and focus. He kept his eye on the ball, and he made it happen. Hamlin did a lot of passing, Reed, so passing was not impossible. Okay. It was difficult, though. I will say that. Joey honestly should have won the race if it wasn't for that last pit stop. Once he would have gained the lead on restart, no one was going to pass him. And I think, Joey Logano did look good in the beginning. And Reed says, I never said it was impossible. It was
hard to, but there you go.
Yes. Okay, so I don't know what FAVTS is, Hunter.
Facts. There we go. It's mistyped.
Facts.
They're responding so much. They're typing too fast. You overdrove the car.
I don't think if that issue didn't happen, it would have been Logano. Blaney had a faster car than Logano most of the day. And if we want to, talk about mistakes, if Bubba Wallace doesn't speed on pit road, I think he was better than Logano. Ryan Blaney's big struggle was restarts, but I think he was better than Logano on the long run, and I think Bell was better than both of them on speed alone.
Yes. And Willow Spicewood says Ty's been contested on both of his wins, which is true.
Agreed.
Okay?
Agreed. Yeah, no, I agree with everything there. If I had to say the 2 tire and all that don't play out at the end, I think it should have been Bell's. He got snookered, reference the 2 tire call. But I think overall, I'd have to go back to Blaney. The Bubba Wallace would be tough because that happened. He got back in the pack, so I don't know how his car was then. But I'd have to agree he should have been more in contention than he was. Logano was up there, but no, I don't think he had the race-winning car at that point.
All right. Jamie says Ty's win was legit and strategy with speed got him the win. All Sports says, I agree, Reed. I think Bubba had the fastest car. Okay. And Jamie says the combination of speed and strategy won the race.
Yep.
And yeah, I can't disagree with a lot of what's been said there. So I'm going to move on. Coming up next, we've got, the main debate here. Ty Gibbs, has he officially become a Cup Series threat for the championship, Jay?
Absolutely. And again, it goes back to the momentum right now. He is one of those that has quietly, if you will, just been super consistent, got his first win early in the year, has been right there, and look at who he's overtaken. Blaney, Reddick, that's a whole nother story. The Hendrick Motorsports are slid down. He has consistently and quietly definitely put himself in the top of the conversation, in my opinion.
Reed?
Yeah, he's definitely a championship contender. I mean, he's second in points. That's all you can really ask for a guy who, he doesn't particularly have the race winning speed every single week, but him and Allen, his crew chief, have made some pretty gutsy calls to get these wins. So I think that whole 54 team is firing in all cylinders right now.
I think it's going to be interesting to watch. He's on a momentum swing. He's won on 2 short tracks. And if you look at the Chase schedule, Martinsville's on that schedule, but I don't know that New Hampshire is New Hampshire is before the Chase. So we'll see what happens. And he is improving throughout this season. So that could play into his favor. He certainly has a good momentum swing going into the Chase. All Sports All Day says, thank goodness you didn't ask that question this time last year, Sharon. You might have been put in an insane asylum. That's a good point. Jamie says, threat, yes, but not yet a championship favorite, however, in my opinion. Yeah, I think the championship is really opening up here to a lot of different drivers. It's going to be interesting to watch. And I'm trying my hardest, Reed, to get through all of this. 2 tires versus 4. Tyler Allen's 2-tire strategy. Gibbs gains the track position. Bell takes 4 tires at the same time. Tire advantage versus track position. Why Iowa favors track position. Okay, we have an audience question here for everybody, actually. So what would you have done in this situation? Would you have taken 2 or 4 tires? While we're waiting for the audience, Reed, what would you have done?
Would have taken 2. I mean, it kind of depends on the car. For a guy like Ryan Blaney, I think he had to take 4 just because his car in particular was super loose on restarts and he couldn't compete at all if he wasn't in the front spot. But I was surprised that Christopher Bell took 4 tires. He would have had fresher tires than Blaney. And if he took 2 anyways, and I think we proved throughout the day that tires did not wear that much. So I think 2 tires was definitely the right call.
Jay?
I'm going to say I got a little bit of an advantage. I listened to the crew chief this morning on the morning drive for Ty Gibbs in that position. Yeah, you were equally matched. You were a little behind. You take the 2 to catch up. For Bell, having what we consider the fastest car at that time, you don't want to throw it away. And Blaney behind you took 4, so you don't want to give him that advantage. So, yeah, you take 4. It just didn't work out. I mean, I know Bell answered real curtly that, was it the right call to take 4? He said no. Crew chief said, hey, it was. It just didn't work out.
Yeah. And it's because it can be challenging. And his strategy to get around that he used on Blaney did not work on Ty Gibbs. Jamie Schweitzer, Bell had to be bummed about his team's choice. And he's just bummed about being second so many times this season. Jamie Schweitzer says 2. Hunter Blazer says 2. Jamie says may have taken even 0 and a just pack full of fuel. All Sports says 0 because let's face it, if I was driving or on top of the box, the car would be in the garage by that time.
Wow.
And Willow Spice Wood says Ty needed less fuel than Bell. Yeah, that's true.
And that could have played in, yeah. Like I said, I think each crew chief made the right call. It just whether or not it works out, and sometimes it don't.
And in this case, it just did not work out. Okay, so moving right along here, storyline number 3, Christopher Bell had that runner-up finish. It's his 7th second-place finish of the season, 4 runner-ups in 5 races. He had a strong Iowa performance, frustration of repeatedly finishing second. The debate is Christopher Bell NASCAR's best almost winner? And that's for you guys. Reed, we'll start with you.
This year, definitely. I remember, think it was 2017 or 2018. I don't remember. It reminds me, I think it was 2018, where Kyle Larson would finish second like almost every single race. That reminds me a lot like of that, and he's kind of got Sheldon Creed syndrome right now. Carson Kvapil had it for a little bit, but I think it still is just a matter of time. That was kind of his race to lose, and he lost it, but it wasn't really due to anything on his fault, unless you want to count maybe like using up his tires. He had a loose race car. This year, yeah, he is the best almost winner.
Okay. All Sports All Day says, wait, Ty, didn't Ty need more because he pitted earlier? I was thinking he pitted later, but I could be wrong.
I think Blaney was the first one to pit, and then I don't know. Yeah,
Bell and Ty pitted together because that's why he passed him on pit road coming out.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Okay, Jay, your answer to the question.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As far as the best of runner-up, and I know he said it himself, there's some hard-to-swallow second-place finishes, and that was one of them. Some of them you're thankful to get second place because you know you didn't quite have the car. This was one that, yeah, got away from him, whether it was the car getting tight when he could catch Ty, lap traffic played a factor. He felt like he had the better car and didn't get the win. So, yeah, this one hurts a little more, but again, you keep finishing second, eventually you're going to get a win.
Yep, I think it's going to happen for Bell eventually. Audience question, is Bell a championship favorite now? Yes, no, absolutely, but he needs wins. And Jamie Schweitzer, in conjunction with this, says, could Bell win a championship with absolutely 0 wins? I posed this question about Larson last week. Yes, you did. So Jamie says no, unfortunately. All Sports All Day says yes. So what do you think, Jay?
Bell, I think, could because he is so, again, if you're going to run second 7 times, I think Bell could. I did not think Larson could because his is way up or way down. Bell is consistent enough where I think he could. I still don't see it happening, but I think he, as a driver, could.
Okay, Willow Spicewood says no. We haven't heard from Hunter yet. What do you think, Reed?
I don't think so. I truly think that if you want to win the championship, you need to win at least 1 or 2 races, especially in the chase, because with how many more points they actually pay, and we see that where Bell is in the standings right now. He's got a ton of top 5s. He's up there with everybody, and he's let's see, he's not even top 5 in the standings. He's behind Chase Briscoe, who only has 1 win. I think no matter, we know how consistent he is. I think no matter how consistent you are, you need to get a win. If that ends up not being the case this chase, I'll eat my words.
Yeah, I would love to see Bell do the Tony Stewart thing in the chase. We'll see what happens. It could happen. Hunter says, isn't Bell just on a heater? He's on an upswing, if that's what you're talking about, with the 4 in the last 5 races, second place finishes. He's picking up points. But Jamie also says, running against Hamlin, Gibbs, and Blaney, he's the odd man out, and that is true. He's got some heavy hitters that are ahead of him. But if he goes on a winning streak during the chase, he could put his name in that hat. Is he there yet? Not yet, but he could be. I'm just going to say he could be. That wasn't one of the options. Okay, moving right along here. We're going to go to our next storyline, which is Ryan Blaney. He had the pole position. He won stage 1. He had 129 laps led. He finished in 3rd place. He had a strong car, but no victory. Was Blaney actually the fastest driver? And we'll go Let's see. What do you think? Was Blaney? Okay, yeah. This is the audience question, so we'll put that up here. Was Blaney the fastest driver? Reed, what do you think?
No, I think it was Christopher Bell or Bubba Wallace. I think Blaney, if he didn't have such a loose race car, he would have kept some track position on restarts. And if his team kind of did a strategy similar to everyone else, I think he would have been in contention for the win and would have been at least closer. I mean, he was in contention, but he would have been a lot closer to Gibbs and Bell if that went his way. But I think Bell had the better car, and you could throw Bubba Wallace in there. I passed a lot of cars. He had a Ryan Blaney type day.
Okay, All Sports All Day says no. Willow Spicewood says for the first half, yes. And Jamie says, help wanted, pit crew members for number 12 Cup car. Bubba was likely the overall fastest. And Hunter says, kind of lost faith on Blaney once he got 4 tires and came out mid-pack around stage 2. He could barely gain track position. That's true. He was not the fastest car at the end of that. Jay, your thoughts?
Yeah, you just said what I was going to say. My answer was not at the end. Throughout the race, maybe there are some others. You mentioned Bubba Wallace. Like I said, he had his own mistake, which put him in the pack and never recovered. So I'm going to go with not at the end. Certainly, I think Bell at the end certainly was the one. I really had Bell winning it, but kudos to Ty Gibbs for holding him off.
Yes, indeed. Ty Gibbs has the gold star for this race. But another driver that had Ricky Rudd type of perseverance was Denny Hamlin. He started at the rear. He had brake problems. He ended up with a 5th place finish, increased his points lead, championship style points day. Can Hamlin continue to build that lead? So what are your thoughts about that, Jay?
Yeah, we talk about it. This is what championships or champion drivers do. I know Hamlin doesn't have a championship yet, but recover from it. And then on top of that, you gain more points because Tyler Reddick had a rough day. So, yeah, I mean, that's what builds championships is just that ability to overcome. And Denny Hamlin had the last 2 years, I feel like, has become a different driver.
Oh, you are on a roll today. We've missed you All Sports All Day. He says, I can change a tire in 5 minutes. So basically, I'm qualified to be on the 12 team. The fire suit is on the way. His other question was, quick question. Can Sharon, Reed, and Jay complete a pit stop faster than Blaney's crew? I would be the worst person to be changing a tire.
No, I'm not going to pile on that, man. I know they've made mistakes, and that's been addressed, but I'm not jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah. Hunter says Hamlin had a lot of brake issues in practice during the beginning of the race. Can't believe he got a top 5. I agree with you, Hunter. I think what he did was pretty amazing, and I'm not typically a Denny Hamlin fan. Jamie says, will Iowa's first race on the repaved surface, July 4th or 27, be better or worse or the same? How so? That's a nice, interesting question. Jay, on the Jack Reed is Jay on Jack. Reed is the tire changer. Sharon, the tire carrier. Let's grab Chris for fuel man. I could not carry that tire. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, but I have back problems. All Sports All Day says we went from saying Hamlin Briscoe might not last 20 laps to having Hamlin finish top 5. That's true.
Exactly.
In our thing, we said not to pick Hamlin because he had horrible finishes.
I think they said this morning his average finish was like 23rd or 25th. So, yeah.
Yeah, we actually didn't have the fantasy report, but when I was looking at it, it said don't pick Hamlin. His finishes are terrible at Iowa, and then he did that. Way worse. Jamie says Reed has good eyes. He's the spotter.
The glasses.
And then Hamlin almost got up on the wall at one point, but saved it somehow. Yeah, he was amazing. He says, I could be a spotter. Reed. Okay, so some interesting chatter there. I love it. Okay, here's the poll. Did everybody get a chance to answer that question?
No. I think so first off, I want to I'm laughing at all sports here. I feel like that fantasy thing on the website may have been a little misleading because he was running decent here. We've only been here twice before this. 2024, he was running decent and he got wrecked and he finished like dead last. So that weighs down the average finish. And then he was kind of mid here last year. He had some issues, but it looked the beginning of this race looked very similar to last year, and he just worked his way up. He got some of those 2-tire calls, and he was on pretty much the same strategy as Bell for most of the race, and it ended up working out for him. So yeah, good for the 11 team.
Okay, Jay, the question was, can Hamlin continue to build the lead?
Yeah, I mean, he is. Again, they're chipping away into it, but not with enough. And I know it's going to come down to probably the 25 points if he gets the number 1 seed. Then it's a matter of who continues it into the chase.
Okay, we're having some fun in the chat room with Reed as a spotter. Here's the audience poll question that's up next. Let's pull this up. Who wins the Cup Series championship? Is it Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, or somebody else? So, door bumper clear. Okay. Reed. No, it's Jay. Jay, who's your championship pick at this stage?
I'm going to go with the other of I don't know yet. I mean, right now Hamlin, I would still say Hamlin is the favorite, but you're talking about momentum. I think Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell right now are the two that have solid momentum, but Ryan Blaney is Ryan Blaney. It's an even year. Don't count out Joey Logano, who's picked up as of late. So I would eliminate Kyle Larson. Unfortunately, I don't think it's his year.
Yeah, I would eliminate him too. And I think Joey Logano's name should be up there. Reed?
I think it's Denny Hamlin. I think Ryan Blaney is probably his closest competitor, but Team Penske, if every race was a short track like North Wilkesboro and the Chase, I think it's Team Penske. But it's not, and they're prioritizing a little bit of intermediates, and Penske does not have that generalized race winning speed everywhere. So it's Hamlin. I think it's an uphill battle for Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano to take it, even if they are some of Hamlin's biggest threats to win.
Okay, Hunter says it's Hamlin's year. He just proved that this weekend with his horrible car. Even year, Joey Logano, take my money.
So you got
all sports all day. And Jamie Schweitzer, Caribous County source, foaming permit may be applied for soon for filming Days of Thunder coverage during next Coke 600. Other is my choice. Okay, I heard they're getting ready to start filming.
Yep.
I heard that too. That it's coming. On a real note, I say Blaney. I don't trust Hamlin. I feel like Gibbs, the only team that could choke a season like this. You know that it's been a long time. Kyle Busch was the last championship in 2018 for Joe Gibbs Racing. So it has been a while for them. Willow Spicewood, people don't like when I say this, but I will say that given the chance, Ty would help Hamlin to get the championship.
Ooh.
And I think that's interesting. I like that comment. Jamie Schweitzer, Joey won a championship at Homestead, albeit the last generation of car. Yeah, but I think his name needs to be up there. He does have a little bit of momentum going. We've got short tracks on the schedule, and he seems to excel at those this year. So, but Ryan Blaney is always my choice. I hope he wins it. But you're right. There's some momentum building. I think Bell, if he can start getting those wins, could be a real championship threat. So we'll see what happens. But I think you got to take Larson out of it unless he goes on a winning streak in the chase and does the Tony Stewart thing. Any of these drivers could do a Tony Stewart thing and win the championship. So we'll just leave it at that. But Blaney's the one I hope wins.
You got me earlier, Sharon. I'm gonna fire it back. Tony Stewart them is now a verb. He's gonna Tony Stewart them.
There you go. Okay,
Jamie, no mention of Hocevar.
Yeah, no mention of Hocevar.
That's a dark horse. Yeah, that's a dark horse.
No way Hocevar wins it. I'm saying that right now.
You think Hocevar's going to win it?
Nope.
No, he said no way.
No way. Yeah, I would hope you would say that.
I wouldn't say no way. I'm not 100% sold on him yet.
No way. I'm saying
I can't go that far. I don't think he's quite there yet, but it's coming. It's coming. The hurricane's coming.
We only talk about hurricanes. We never talk about tropical storms. 0 chance. I'm with Reed. It says All Sports all day. Okay, next up was a top Chevy before Iowa.
Yeah, that's why I say I don't think you can put him at 0%, but
I put Logano over Hocevar 5 times over. Hurricane in Iowa. Okay, it's starting to get late. I do have 2 more topics here that I want to get to, and that is storyline of Reddick and Jones. Early incident, both drivers eliminated. Reddick drops in the championship standings to 3rd. Jones falls into serious trouble for his hopes. Recovery challenge, 3 races remaining. The audience question here for the Reddick and Jones situation is this. Who needs the bigger rebound? Reddick, Jones, both, or other? He was more like a clogged toilet this weekend.
Yeah, okay.
All Sports All Day says both. What do you say, Reed?
Reddick, because he's the one who's probably going to make the chase. I don't see it for Jones right now. I guess anything could happen, but especially with Richmond, with short tracks not being great for Legacy Motor Club. He showed some speed early at Iowa, but he didn't get really a chance to show it. But I think it's Reddick. We'll see if he can turn it around. I think he qualified on pole or close to it last year, so we'll see if he can do it again.
Jay?
Well, and that what you said is true, but that's why I say my answer initially would be Jones, because he has to in order to get in. Reddick has a little bit more solid foundation with his team and where they were to start this season, so his rebound wouldn't need to be as big as Jones, but that falls under the both category. They both need to turn it around because, yeah, they've been going the wrong direction.
Yeah, I would say both. Jamie says, bye-bye for Jones. Reddick needs it more for momentum. Jones is done. Stick a fork in him. All Sports says, harsh, Jamie, but I agree. And Hunter says both, but unfortunately with Jones, DNF, I don't think he makes the chase. It's very unfortunate. If he can have a good run and a maximum points day at Daytona, he might have a chance. But it's so
that's
hard
what
to say.
Jones said it himself. He said this race was the determining factor, and afterwards he said, I think we're done.
Yeah. It makes me sad. I had such high hopes that he was going to make it in. I don't know how far he would have gone, but I am happy with the progress that I'm seeing from Legacy Motorsports. Okay, let's see here. The other question I have here has to do with Kyle Larson. He had a strong start to the race. Stage 1, he finished top 3. Lap 149 incident, 4 wide situation created by the way, by Kyle Larson. He ends up with a 33rd place finish, championship implications. And for Jay and Reed, was Larson's Iowa result bad luck or a bigger concern?
Oh gosh, good. Reed's going to go first. Go ahead.
Kind of a bigger concern because it seems like no matter what, Larson is always involved in something, especially this year. And regardless of whether the incident at Iowa was fully his fault or not, I think it was probably closer to Nemechek's fault. Oh yeah, All Sports says it. I think it was closer to Nemechek's fault, but the broader issue is that this seems to happen bi-weekly, at least for Larson. Can't seem to, get the finishes. So I think it is, it's when it's a pattern, it is cause for concern.
Yeah, you're right. It was Nemechek. I was thinking, okay. Jamie says, who wins first, Larson, Zilich, or Bubba? Bigger concern is his answer. Larson, then Zilich, then Bubba. And All Sports says, Bubba better be on the hot seat. And Hunter says, Larson always steps on his foot and chews his own tongue. I feel like Larson is the Denny Hamlin of the past. He's stepping on his own toes and ruining his own chances. But you're right, it was Nemechek this week. Teammate with 5 wins and part-time teammate with 2 wins. We got to start evaluating the rest of his career. And I think he is talking retirement. Jay, what's your answer?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a bigger concern, and I'll use a number, 46 races. That's just not normal for him. And it's been a variety of things. Some of it's mechanical. Sharon, you brought up a good point. Has he become the new Denny Hamlin, can't get out of his own way? That certainly seems to be. But Hendrick Motorsports as a whole right now, they got a couple of wins with Chase Elliott, but they have certainly not been the HMS that we know. So, yeah, I definitely got to put it under the bigger concern category.
Okay. And for the audience, the question is this. What does Larson need the most? Better luck, better execution, better short track performance, or just move on? What does he need most, Reed? Or Jay? Jay, we'll start with you here.
Oh, bummer. Better execution overall, because some of the mistakes have been his. The team needs to execute better, get the cars a little bit better. So I'm going to go under the better execution category.
Okay, Reed?
I disagree. I think it's really just he needs more pace, more raw speed. I think one of the biggest issues is he's pushing so hard because the car just doesn't necessarily have it, and Hendrick Motorsports as a whole doesn't have it. So we kind of know that is we know that is an issue, and I think that's what's causing all these wrecks. So they just need raw pace, raw speed.
Okay, and I would have to agree with that. I think it's a Hendrick Motorsports thing that's going on. Some of the other drivers have done well, but if you've noticed, they've not had a win in a while. It's been a few races since we've seen a win from Hendrick Motorsports. So I think he needs something to happen within the organization that's going to help him have the speed that he needs. I think that Kyle Larson is trying to get the most out of his car, but he's overstepping more times than not. He doesn't have the patience that like a Denny Hamlin has of saving his tires and kind of patiently working his way through the field like a Ryan Blaney does. He tries to force the issue sometimes, and I think that's his biggest downfall.
I can't argue that.
Better execution. All Sports All Day says 6 inches between the ears. And he says no one else spins from a top 5 by themselves at Chicagoland. Lack of mental talent. Whoa, talk about harsh. Whoa. Yeah, that was harsh. Okay, Larson is having the championship slump. And that's possible. That's true.
Slump
there. But I do think it's a organizational issue for Kyle Larson, but I think he's not helping himself by forcing the issue at times. I think he just needs to back it down a notch or two. Hunter Blazer says, with Chase Elliott, the only one for HMS with wins that fell off badly, and all the others don't show up ever. Byron was in the top 10 there for a while, but he fell back at the end. He wasn't up there contending at the end. So I
think top 5 maybe is as far as Byron got.
Yeah, the speed is gone, he says, Hunter. And so for the first time ever, I disagree with Reed. I think he has speed, not 21-25 speed enough. He's not a great driver. He oversteps, and it's never his fault. The speed is gone, says Hunter. He should be top 5 in points right now if he could just be smart. I think he just needs patience. I think he's overly anxious to try to make things happen. And he just doesn't have the car to make the things that he wants to happen. I think it's more organizational. Jay?
Yeah, no, I would have to agree with that. When I say execution, it's not just on the driver, it's on the team as well as the shop. So I agree with you, Sharon. I think it from the organization down, as that isn't there, he's trying to make up for it and thus causing some self-inflicted problems. So I kind of agree with that.
Hunter says it's never his fault. You got to go back and rewind and see. I know he's gaining that reputation. I do know that reputation is starting to build on him. So Jamie Schweitzer, wooden spoon thought, when driver reaches 3 children, do they get less wins? Hamlin is still winning, same with Reddick and Gibbs and Blaney. Same with Reddick, Gibbs, and Blaney. Interesting thought.
I don't know if that's a wooden spoon one, but it's an entertaining one.
It's an entertaining one for sure. Okay, we're on 20 minutes of overtime. Do we want to go on or do we want to call it?
You got what, one more? Well, 2 more?
Well, we got wreckers or checkers, championship check, biggest winner, biggest wrecker, and biggest surprise, and the championship check.
I know we've been at least talking the winner and loser, so I think we got to cover those.
Okay, so here we go. I guess I've got. Who's your biggest winner? I got tired of looking for photos, so there's no photos on these last charts. Biggest winner candidates: Ty Gibbs, Carson Kvapil, Tristan McKee, Mason Massey, Kyle Steckley, Haley Deegan. Who won? I can't see. Whoops. Who won the weekend?
Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, I would have to agree. So All Sports All Day, you're killing me. But I agree. Reed said it. All Sports All Day said it. I'd have to agree it's Ty Gibbs because I think we really saw him take a step in maturity and handling the situation. And now a championship contender, being he is currently in second in points. So I say Ty Gibbs as well.
Okay. He says, so is this ending under caution? Yeah, we're going into overtime. Okay. Hunter says Gibbs with a good pick call. Ty Gibbs for All Sports All Day. Jamie Schweitzer says Gibbs. All Sports says definitely not Kyle Steckley. For me, Ty Gibbs. Willow Spicewood. So I think that was pretty unanimous. I was going to say Mason Massey on luck and Ty Gibbs on skill.
Sharon, I was going to say we might need to call it now if everybody agreed with Ty Gibbs, and you did in part. So, yeah, that's a scary thought. We had everybody, all of us plus the chat room all agreed on one answer.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs. Well, on the skill, I was going to just be funny with that. But, okay, let's go to the biggest. I skipped one here. I skipped another one. The biggest wrecker candidates: Eric Jones, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson or other? Audience question. Who leaves the weekend in the biggest hole?
That one I would have to go with Tyler Reddick. I mean, and it's not just this week. I mean, he has gone from the penthouse to almost the outhouse. Not quite all the way down, but yeah, he's a disaster lately.
Okay. All Sports All Day says we all heard Reed and he said follow the leader.
Yeehaw.
We didn't want to mess with Texas. And All Sports All Day says Jones. Who do you say, Reed?
I think Reddick. I didn't think Jones would be the biggest contender on the bubble to get into the chase. So I think it's Reddick. You never want to stumble into the chase. And right now it doesn't look like he's a champ. I think he is a championship contender, but he hasn't looked like it for months. And you never want that coming into the chase. So I think it's him.
Hunter says all over them. Eric Jones, biggest hole, Keselowski. Jamie says. Willow says biggest loser, Jones and Larson. Hunter says all of them. Jamie Schweitzer, biggest hole is Brad K. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in Brad K too. But the ones we do have other listed there too. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. The biggest surprise candidates: Kyle Steckley, Haley Deegan, Carson Kvapil, Tristan McKee, or Ty Gibbs. Who's your biggest surprise this weekend?
That's you, Reed.
Probably Carson Kvapil. I knew he was good. I just didn't really expect him to go back to back, but I'm real happy for him. I think I think he really deserved it, and I think he just got me off guard with showing that he's struggled to get that first win for a while. So I didn't know how long it would be for him to get a second one, and it was the race after. So props to him.
Okay. All Sports says going to New Hampshire Saturday morning when camping opens, and we'll be there until Monday, the 24th. Nice. I hope you have a good time, All Sports All Day. He says Steckley. Jamie Schweitzer says Tristan McKee. Hunter Blazer says Deegan. Interesting. I think we heard from everybody except for Willow Spicewood. Reed, who's your biggest surprise?
I said it was Carson Kvapil.
I'm gonna go a little different. I'm gonna say Ty Gibbs again, being that he was on two tires. To me, the surprise was the maturity he showed and held off a hard charging Christopher Bell. So for me, it was Ty Gibbs. Not that I didn't think he was capable of it, but I mean, really stepping up. So I'm gonna stay with Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, I have to agree. Ty Gibbs, I thought, really was impressive. Jamie says a lot of first-time wins for extremely young guns. All Sports All Day says don't mess with Texas, but don't miss the Magic Mile, August 23rd. Okay, next up we've got championship check. ARCA East, McKee versus Reeves. I think we've all answered that question. Huddleston versus Denton. We've got the O'Reilly Series, Kvapil versus the Chase Bubble. And the NASCAR Cup Series, Hamlin versus Gibbs versus Bell versus Blaney, plus Larson, Reddick recovery. Okay, let's talk about the NASCAR Cup one because I think we've talked about all the others. Who's it going to be in the NASCAR Cup Series? Are Larson and Reddick going to recover? Or is it going to be more of Hamlin versus Gibbs versus Bell versus Blaney?
I think it's all about Toyota. So I'm going to say it's Bell, Gibbs, and Hamlin. Blaney is that one Ford that's in there at least consistently. Logano kind of creeping on. I hate to say it, but at this point, I've kind of written Reddick and Larson off. Their year either didn't get going or has come apart.
Okay, and All Sports agrees with that. He says, I'm sorry, Larson's done this year. I put SVG to be more likely than Larson.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
Reed, what are you thinking?
I haven't written off Tyler Reddick just yet, but I have written off Larson. HMS just not have the speed whatsoever to contend. So I think that's kind of what it is for me.
Bell, not one of them, nor Larson. So you don't think Bell or
Ooh.
Larson are going to make it? Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so I do think these are your top 4 drivers that are going to be contending. Reddick has mostly bad luck. Haven't written him off yet. That's Hunter. Like at least SVG is good at short tracks. Larson is good at nothing this year. You've been harsh tonight.
Yes, he has.
He's still good in sprint cars. He won a sprint car race Sunday night.
Yeah. Bell, I don't think is much of a threat.
Ooh,
Okay,
Larson's
I
won
disagree with that.
Reilly series at Texas too.
Yeah, a lot of people are writing Bell off. I'm kind of surprised at that. Jay,
Yeah,
you started to say something there too.
I was going to say, I just don't understand the being against Bell, because I'm, again, 7 runner, second place is, I mean, that's tough to compete with, other than getting the win and those extra 15 points.
Okay. Jamie says blown motors happen in summer, don't they, at JGR? Sometimes. Hey, yay, Kyle. Must be fun to watch, to win in front of 12 people.
Okay, you don't even know what you're talking about. The Knoxville Nationals sells out. That is not 12 people.
Okay. I think Bell's right in it with the rest of JGR. I have to agree. I'm kind of surprised so many people are writing Bell out. I think Bell is on a momentum swing. He's going after that win, and he's going to get it eventually. And I think it's going to happen during the chase. All Sports All Day says it was a Corey LaJoy joke. Okay, so Reed, did you respond on this one?
Yes, I did. I just don't.
Okay.
I don't think Larson's gonna do it. I think Reddick isn't out of it yet. I think Gibbs and Bell are kind of in the same spot. I think it's only a matter of time before we start seeing some race winning speed. No, sorry, race wins out of Bell. He does have race winning speed.
Yes. Okay. He said it was about LaJoy because LaJoy said if he can't race Cup, he doesn't want to win in front of 12 people in the lower cities series. He said that in 24. That's why we didn't remember. It was back in 24.
I didn't remember it because it's not accurate. Yeah, it's not accurate, but okay.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, we already did this one, the biggest story of the weekend. Championship picks. Yes, I know Knoxville Nationals are the biggest dirt races in the U.S. Okay. Did we do this already, kind of, sort of?
I think we did individually for each series, except maybe the Cup, because we hadn't finished that one.
Okay, so All Sports All Day says Bowman's going to win it. I think that's in the East. No, that's Top Series. All Sports All Day says Reeves, Huddleston for All Sports All Day, and Allgaier in O'Reilly. Who do you have for Cup? No way. He says where. Okay, Reed.
ARCA, Annunziata, ARCA East, McKee, ARCA West, Huddleston, O'Reilly, Allgaier, Cup, Hamlin.
Okay, Jay.
I was almost going to repeat that, but I'm going to go with Bowman in the ARCA. I think he does hold on to that. The ARCA East, again, that is such a toss-up. I'll go with McKee, but no, I got to stick with Reeves. The experience there, I got to go with Reeves. The Huddleston, I guess go with the favorites here. Huddleston in the West. O'Reilly, yeah, I got to go Allgaier. Cup is one I can't necessarily solidly say Hamlin. I think it's his to lose, but I think we got a couple right now, and I say Gibbs and Bell, I think could be the surprise.
All right. I'm putting in the ARCA series, I'm going to say Bowman hangs on to it. In the East, I'm going to go with Tristan McKee. In the West, I'll stick with Huddleston. In the O'Reilly, I'm going to go Allgaier. And in the Cup, it's up for grabs. I think there could be some surprises. Jamie says Logano continues to win an even year and silences the doubters and haters of sliced bread.
I would love that. That would just be
a possibility.
Huge. Joey Logano is the new Tony Stewart. He's going to come out and win 5 out of the 10.
He's going to be the new Tony Stewart. There you got it. Isaac Kitzmiller is going to make us look like fools. He could.
That could. Amen.
Well, you're right. Okay, I believe that is my last slide. So we are done for the night. I just want to say thank you to everybody for hanging in there with us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to Reed and to Jay Hughesman for all that you do to make our Hot Topic sound off as good as it is. And a big thank you also to all of our participants in the chat room. We appreciate you guys for responding and playing along with us and having fun. It's what we envisioned for this show, and you guys are making that happen. So thank you so much. If you enjoyed tonight's show, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to Fan for Racing Radio, and share the stream with others so that they can participate in the comment section as well. Remind viewers to keep commenting after the show. And then, of course, we've got some interviews that are on the line for this week. So keep your eyes open for that. There's a lot going on the interview side of things. So we've got some good things going on with that. Reed, you had an article that went up today. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah. It's about Spencer Boyd's collaboration with a Child's Wish Foundation. He's going to be running a paint scheme, and he's going to be inviting one of a Child's Wish children to his pit crew. So it's going to be fun to watch.
And the article is up at fanforracing.com. And you've got some more articles in the works, right?
Yeah. Tomorrow I'm going to start on kind of a deep dive on the Christopher Bell's second place finishes and what could have gone differently and what he needs. And then I'll do a feature article of the recap of me and Takuma Koga's interview on Thursday, which we're really excited about that. So stay tuned for that.
All right. Final host round here. This is going to be rapid fire. For the first one, it's not rapid fire, but then for the next two, it is. Okay. Your biggest takeaway from the weekend, Jay?
Ty Gibbs, making himself a championship contender, or at least in the conversation.
Reed?
Yeah, I think the summer stretch is starting to come to an end, and the Toyotas have maintained speed.
All right. Next to a rapid fire, 1 or 2 words. Driver you're buying into. Reed?
For Richmond, like what All Sports just said, Austin Dillon. But I'm buying into, right now, Ty Gibbs in general.
Jay?
Yeah, it's got to stay with the Ty Gibbs for the night. Right now, he's got it going on.
Okay. And driver you're worried about, Jay?
Reddick.
Okay. So there you have it. If it's happening at the track, we're going to sound off about it here on Hot Topic Sound Off. And we've got, there will not be a Race Chat Live again this week. I know you can talk more to this, Jay. Chris is involved in some activities this week.
Yeah, I think somebody at Why Not posted they have 20-some campers already there on Monday. They don't even start practice till Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday is the Street Stock Nationals. and I don't remember what the number is as far as how many states they get drivers from, but it's up there at a good amount. So 200 plus cars there for the factory stock and the street stocks this weekend.
Okay, so he's going to be a busy guy. So look for Race Chat Live next week. I've got a lot of comments here. The ARCA race was the hardest I've cheated for a driver since Busch at Darlington in 24. He corrected rooted. Thank you to the entire crew. Thank you for participating. Thank you, says All Sports All Day. Thank you all. $1 Jay. Jamie says, who wins Richmond? Did we pick that? Cool. I can't wait for that. Austin Dillon says, All Sports All Day. He wrecked everybody and their brother last year to win. Death, taxes, and number 3 at Richmond. Hunter says, same goes for Kvapil. Biggest takeaway for Jamie, the truck points is too close to call for who's in the chase. Yeah, truck race is coming up this week, so that's going to be good. Buying into Sawalich in the lower series. Jay likes that. Jamie says, worried about Larson. All
Agreed.
right, so thank you guys for participating. This has been interesting. Let me know if you liked this format or not. We did go a little bit overtime by about 45 minutes. So they don't like us because we're a blue collar team. Yes. You like this format? What about you guys, Jay and Reed? We can talk.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. It was a blast.
Of course.
Okay. Well, if you ever have any, Jamie says he loved it. If you ever have any suggestions, I'm always open to suggestions. I'm searching for the right answer here and trying some different things in case you haven't noticed. So let me know what you like best. You can leave it in the comments after the show. And with that, I think we're ready to call it a night, guys. Anything more you wanted to say, Jay, before we left?
No, I think I've said Ty Gibbs enough tonight, so I'm good.
Yep.
Reed, you're done too? Okay. So thanks, everybody. We are going to see you in our next video. Jay and I only have 2 previews this week. So it's going to be a short week for previews, no Race Chat Live. We do have interviews coming, and look for a fantasy report on Friday, barring any unforeseen circumstances. So take care, everybody.
Good night.
See you later, folks.